All right. I tried to use the same thing, so I'm not sure why the likes reset. We're not on Twitch anymore, though, that's for sure. Wait, did it create a new event? Shit. That's not what was supposed to happen, but okay. Fuck. Hold on. The debate wasn't canceled. Nothing was canceled. All right, I have it on lower latency this time, so... This time, chat, you'll be relevant. How do you like them apples, huh? This dude looks washed out. You know what? Sure, I'll listen to Hunter get wrecked. Yep. I'm ready. Wreck me, daddy. We're getting some viewers pulling in here. Dude, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. It might be because I have my video settings like adjusted. Maybe it's because I have my light on. I don't know. I like the traffic cone in the back. Yeah, that's the cone that I invoke because the cone says no. Why do you all hate Hunter? You're a grifting soyjack. Hey, Hunter F all alone. Why don't you get in my Discord, all right? 5 minutes. All right. We're gonna be getting into the thing soon. About to make Mayo lose his whole career. I don't know. I mean, the dude already debated Destiny and he's still going. Like, I don't. Christian Stafford, thank you for the $10. Really respect your journey over the last few years, your candor and generally positive attitude. Thanks for what you do, Hunter. Thanks very much, man. I appreciate it. AI, thanks for the $5. Nick is irrelevant, but gets 100 times more viewers on his private platform. Well, probably because he's not available on any other platform, right? So it's all consolidated in one place. So like me, for example, my views are like real low on YouTube right now, but like over on TikTok, I'm getting like hundreds of thousands of views almost every day. So I'm spread across platforms. Report not spam. My invite to the debate was was put in my spam box. Hunter, what happened to you, boy? Oh, I would love to tell you about that in my Discord, but I'm about to get into a different debate, so I can't talk. For a more perfect America, thanks for the $5. Wreck Mayo tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping happens. All right, guys, we're going to be jumping into the debate in 1 second. I am going to go pee really quickly, then we'll be off to it. All right, let's jump into this. All right, Yeti. And then this also needs to be Yeti. Nope, I'm not doing camera on their end.
Hey, Hunter.
Hello. How are you? Am I heard?
No, and they both will be off
no,
camera.
I'm not. Okay. That's...
How about that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, we can hear you.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
If it's cool, I don't really want to have my camera on.
Yeah, no, I know. We had that issue last time too.
I can put a picture in though.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I just figured, if Mayo can have just a random
Yeah.
picture, why do I have to have a picture?
I'm gonna funky edit you in, okay? Making your arm just like move like
You know what? It gets more engagement when you put like a block down there and it looks like you're like talking a little bit.
Oh my god. It freaks me out.
Was that a loop?
Yeah. All I did is just took a clip, slowed it down, and looped it just so that because it's more for a podcast form than anything else. And it's like, that it's you. It's not like I put like a fake.
Yeah,
person.
I know.
All right, I'll put hold on. All right, I am live on my end.
Okay.
So I'm a little laggy at the moment too. Guys, stream, I know. It's all right. All right, I'm gonna put a very acceptable picture that.
Oh. All right, I'm gonna put you down. This motherfucker. Okay.
That's gonna be me, cause I'm the triggered SJW in this one.
Okay. I'm gonna put you down below, and we'll be getting started in a minute.
Guys, I know that I'm lagging. Please give me a second. There's gonna be lag for a second.
Mute yourself, Justin.
Jonathan Zubia, thank you for the $2.
He's gonna be for a second.
Josh, thanks for the $5. Hey, thanks for making my driving home more interesting. You dude. Hey man, no problem. Enjoy. I know we're getting lag, guys. Give it a second here. I don't know why it's so laggy. Let me try this. Oh, I know the first issue. That was annoying. How do I do no camera? Like, disable this. I think we're gonna start getting less lag here. I know he's slippery, don't worry. It just keeps fucking lagging!
Podcast where we host debates, panels, and interviews. If this is your first time joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to keep up to date with all our future debates and panels. So I am your host, Brittany, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Todd and Justin. How are you guys?
Doing good. How are you? What's up, Justin?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
Yeah, so for those who are a little bit new, Justin is basically taking in the position of the left wing host. I'm more the center, and Todd's our right wing. So that is his position. He actually started this show with us, so he's not technically new for us, but he is new for you guys. So this is Justin. All right, so we are going to be debating the little Timmy question. So we have Hunter Avalon, who I debated about this like a week or two ago, and then Mio, who is the person who actually red pilled me on this stuff. So let's bring them on. First up, let's bring on Hunter. How are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing good. So yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, tell people where you lie on the political spectrum and where people can find you.
Sure. My name's Hunter Avalone. I used to be a conservative. I now consider myself a social democrat. You can find me just at my name, Hunter Avalone, on YouTube and I guess TikTok. I know it's embarrassing, but follow my TikTok for the best clips of some of my debates and everything else. Thanks again for having me on, Brittany. Appreciate it.
All right. Next up, let's bring on Mio. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to be here.
So yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, tell people where you lie on the political spectrum and where people can find you.
Sure. I'm Mio. I'm a Christian conservative nationalist, and I care about this country. That's about it. You can find me only at Politically Provoked.
All right. So, all right. So, I think what we'll do for this one is because there's going to be probably a lot of people who don't know what or who Little Timmy is. I think most people do, but we'll let Mio tell us the Little Timmy story and give his opening. Hunter, right after that, you can kind of just go into your stance. For those watching, if you have questions, tag Politically Provoked so we know you're talking to us and not the chat. We'll be jotting them down and get to them during the Q&A. After Q&A is when we'll do closing statements and final thoughts. And then after the debate, we have our pop on drink and chat panel. So we will be inviting people to come on and we'll be going pretty much all night. All right. So Mio, you want to tell people who Little Timmy is?
I'd be happy to. So, Little Timmy. Well, it's an all too familiar story these days. Little Timmy is a story of many children all across the country already today, and an increasing amount starting right now. It's unfortunate. You hate to see it, really. But essentially, Little Timmy is the last white kid filled in a classroom filled with so-called people of color, a group from which he's obviously excluded. He's he and his classmates are going to be brought up in schools, taught about all the historic evils that white people have committed against non-white people of color. They're going to be taught about colonization, the evils of colonization, how white people did that to people all across the Western Hemisphere, Latin Americans specifically. They're going to be taught about the Holocaust, the greatest evil of all time, which white people committed against the most discriminated against people in all of human history, the Jews. They're going to be taught about slavery, which is the most condemnable act of evil probably committed in American history. Chattel slavery, where white people enslaved blacks in America, brought them over on slave ships, put them in chains. Unforgivable sin, which essentially there is no adequate reparation for. They're going to be taught about Jim Crow after slavery was abolished by white people, I might add. They're going to be taught about the 3/5 rule and poll taxes and literacy tests. They're going to be taught about Richard Nixon and Donald Trump and the evils of white nationalism, how it's the #1 threat in this nation today, and how white people have a lot to answer for. So essentially, hearing all of this as a small child growing up, being taught this by his parents, being shown this by the media, being taught it in the history books, by the government, no matter where he goes, in the private sector, public sector, the military, this is going to be the narrative which is presented from here on out. They're going to be taught all of these things, and I have a feeling that little Timmy is feeling pretty alienated, and he's probably going to learn to hate himself and his own people for all of these evils which have been committed. And what's more than that is his people of color classmates will probably grow to, somewhat, more than somewhat, very resentful of him too. And why shouldn't they? They're not taught a reason why they shouldn't. They're you know, I mean, you see it already, the effects of this. You see white kids being bullied in schools, classes, universities, all the way through their education, their childhoods, and their lives. You see white people being canceled from their jobs for not being okay enough with diversity and all of these narratives, for even questioning them. And it's really unfortunate. And you know, I think we're going to see an increasing amount of violence. I think we're going to see an increasing amount of self-hatred and hatred from others towards white people and small white children, which, when you combine with the fact that well, white people are going to be the minority in this country soon. They're going to be less than 50% of the population in less than 20 years now. They're going to be a true minority in probably 40 years, according to all the data and trends. Maybe less than that, with increasing amounts of immigration, which obviously people like Hunter Avallone will be pushing for. So, you know, many people have taken a crack at little Timmy. Many have tried to work their way around the reality that's barreling down on young white kids now and in the future, just like Timmy, and all have fallen short. Radical coder, low end theory, Sonzold, tomfoolery, mouthy infidel, even destiny. But maybe Hunter Avallone, the disgraced, fallen, now largely irrelevant former right wing grifter turned leftist by his girlfriend, will be the white knight in shining armor to drive the nails into Timmy's coffin. But probably not. So we'll see. I'm curious what Hunter has to say.
Okay. Hunter.
Wow, I didn't know things were gonna get personal here. I didn't know if I mean, you know, I wish I could at least just see what, you know, Mayo looks like so I could at least make fun of him. But no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the little Timmy question, you know, oftentimes I see it posed as like this unbeatable argument, specifically from people like Mayo. And the reason for that is because it's not an argument to begin with. It is unfalsifiable because all it is a hypothetical hunch, a feeling that you have that this is going to happen, even though there is absolutely no evidence to support the fact that that is going to happen. So, first and foremost, it sounds like, can you just tell me if this sounds like a good summary? Because I wrote this down. I think that this is a good summary of the little Timmy question. Let me know if this sounds good. With the combination of immigration, critical race theory, and the fact that whites will become a minority, it only follows that minority white children in classrooms such as little Timmy will inevitably be bullied for their race.
Well, as I just described, I think that the consequences will go far deeper than that. But sure, we can start there.
So that's the little Timmy question in summary, right? And it seems to me that your solution is more or less restricting immigration and trying to focus more on the good things that white people have done and stop essentializing these bad things as being all white people. Like the Holocaust, for example, that wasn't done by white people. It was done by a specific group of people at a specific time for specific reasons that had nothing to do with them being white. Would you agree with that kind of, more or less?
Well, that's what I would agree with, but I wouldn't agree that that's the narrative being pushed around the Holocaust. If that were the case, then I don't know why the so-called white nationalists from January 6th are being forced to read things like Schindler's List for reduced sentences.
I don't
It
know
seems
what this
like
has to do with
that's
anything,
it.
but
Well,
okay.
it seems to me like that historical grievance that white people all together seem to have been are told, everyone else is told, that white people have committed is still, we're in the shadow of that today. And
So this is
you know,
wrong though. See
that's what
what
it
you're
has to do with it. It's
right.
happening
So
in this country. And what's more than that
no,
is
no.
you
Wait,
all saw
stop
right
it,
out of the
Cody. 'Cause
gate.
right,
Everyone
hold
saw
on,
right out of the
because
gate
this is
that
what you.
Hunter Avallone came out of the gate with an anti-white slur. He says Mayo. And you know, I checked in on his little
'Cause your name is
pre-debate stream
Mayo.
before that. He says Mayo cracker, which is funny because
Oh,
that's an
no.
anti-white slur. It's on the list of anti-white slurs. I'm curious if there are any other ethnic slurs which you think it's okay to say, Hunter? Or is it only
right.
slurs against white
Are
people
you
that are
done?
allowed on the platforms
Your
of
volume's
big
way
tech now?
quieter.
Only those are the only ones that you're willing to say these days because it's okay. It's cool now to hate white people and to use ethnic racial slurs against them.
All right, so are you done with the once you're done with the faux
was a
outrage,
question,
let's get back.
actually.
Well, it's irrelevant to the little Timmy question. So
It's
let's actually get
irrelevant
back to
you're
that.
using
So
you're
the
using racist slurs against white people to the question of whether
I
people will
called
be racist
you
against white
Mayo.
people in the future. You yourself are a part of it
Buddy,
already, man.
buddy,
That's
please,
the first thing
please
that you
calm
did.
down. I called you Mayo because it's funny because your name is Mayo, so it sounds really similar to Mayo. It's really nothing to get too triggered
Oh,
by.
yeah,
I
that's
promise
what-
it's
that's
going to
what
be
Mayo
okay.
Cracker before this
So-
debate on your very stream was?
So you realize that you talk about restricting immigration, for
I
example,
understand you want
but
to talk about immigration because you just used a racial slur right out of the gate. But you know,
I'm
I'm
white. I
you
can
have
say
an
it.
answer for that.
Dude,
You're
I'm
saying
white. I
if
can
I
say
said
it. What do you
an
mean?
anti-black slur, if I said an anti-Hispanic, anti-Asian slur,
Are you
in
Asian?
my opening statement, I
I'm
think that
white.
you
I
would
have-
hung up on that, wouldn't you?
Dude, I have the Mayo Cracker pass. I'm white. You have it too. Relax. It's all right.
So there it is.
We can
So
say it.
it's
We can
cool
reclaim
to
it
be
together.
racist against your own people, huh?
I'm not being
To use
racist.
racist
No, it's
slurs.
cool though. We're
Do you think it's
reappropriating
okay
it, you
for
know?
black people to say the N-word on social media, to just go on debates and call other black people that word because they don't like the arguments that they're making?
I'm going to just wait till you're done with this phony outrage so that we can actually get back to the topic because I had a
Yeah, it's not phony at all because it's actually the entire question is that you think it's okay to be racist against white people, and that's why you're here to debate that it's okay
No,
to be racist against
wrong.
white
I
people.
only think
White
it's okay to
people,
be
you just
racist
roll
against
over and
you.
accept it.
I actually only think it's okay to be racist against you.
Oh, yeah,
So you
because
got
I'm here
me.
to defend the interests
So-
of young white kids in the future across this country.
No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, I have a solution for you, and thankfully, I have come to put your fears to rest, my friend. So, for example, you talk about restricting immigration, but it's funny you say that because restricting immigration would actually make the little Timmy question become more likely. So, there are multiple studies that have proven that as people live in more diverse areas, they are more likely to be more accepting. Diversity restricting immigration will make the little Timmy question more likely because racism decreases as diversity increases.
So if white people allow themselves to become a minority in this country, they can just hope that all the non-whites who are coming here from other nations, who largely don't even speak the same language as them, will just be nice to them. That's your argument?
What do
That's
you
what
mean?
came
How-
here, you loaded cunt?
Wait, what do you mean just be nice to them? So there's a big difference between, for example, being a minority and being marginalized. So, for example, already we can see that diversity has increased greatly, yet most politicians are still white men. White people still hold a disproportionate amount of wealth and power in this country. Look at the difference between the black and the white wealth gap. This idea that if one day we wake up and suddenly white people are at 47%, oh no, that all of a sudden what, you're going to lose all the institutional power? That's not how this works. They're even...
You know, it's funny this language that you're using, like diversity, it really just means fewer white people. I'm
No,
curious,
that's
do
not
you think
true at
that
all.
China
No.
needs more
That's
white people
that's
in it?
actually
Do you
not
think
true. So like
Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe need more
South
white
Africa
people
is
in them
actually-
to increase diversity?
South Africa is actually a great example that kind of proves my point too, is there, even though there
is it?
have been some really terrible things that have happened there that we could, that's kind of a conversation for another time, white people still, even there, disproportionately hold the lion's share of capital gains. So even in other places where white people are a minority and arguably even discriminated against, they still hold disproportionate wealth and disproportionate power, right? So this is
Yeah,
a
okay,
much more
so
like
it's funny
clear-cut
that
thing. Like it's
you
right here
think-
borne out in the facts here, my dude.
You really seem to think that it's all just about how much wealth each person has when we're talking about something completely different. So let's talk about South Africa.
No,
Are you
we're not gonna
familiar
talk
with the
that's-
fact that white people are being discriminated against.
Are you
There's
familiar that
violence
this
outright
is? Are you
against them
familiar
because of
that?
their race
Hey,
in
buddy,
South
are you
Africa?
familiar that this is the thing that you do
really
every
don't
time?
want to talk about South Africa now, do you?
Are you okay right now? You
Hey,
came
you're
here
the
like
one who
really
interrupted me. I
mad.
waited till you were finished talking.
I'm trying to talk about the little Timmy question, and you want to go talk
Oh,
about
that's
South
exactly what I'm
Africa,
talking
my
about.
friend.
Yeah, Little Timmy already happened in South Africa. That's why we're bringing it up.
And these are
It's
entirely different things that have nothing to do with each other. This would
I
arguably be
understand why you wouldn't
whataboutism. So as
understand
far as when
because
it
you don't
comes to
have a
the little
broader
Timmy,
scope of history and
right? I
international
understand. I know,
relations.
145 IQ. I got it, buddy.
Yeah,
But
so
when it
let's go
comes to
ahead
the
and
little
talk
Timmy
about
question
this.
actually happening in America, there is absolutely no indication that this is going to happen. Trends suggest we're actually heading towards a more inclusive direction, not the opposite. So, for
Yeah, when
example,
you say inclusive, you don't mean towards white people.
for example, there's researchers that found that both conscious and unconscious bias regarding race and sexual orientation declined significantly between 2007 and 2016. So these racist attitudes, they're declining. There are even studies that show that more diverse groups are more accepting. Like I already brought up, they're more accepting. It's less likely that there's going to be bullying on like the basis of race. Lastly, even if there was and the teacher didn't intervene, that would arguably be violating the law. So there's all kinds of ways that this is like would be blocked or people would be protected from this happening. There's no indication that we're actually headed towards a world where there's going to be a little boy who's bullied for being white. It just doesn't seem to happen. And if it does happen, we can deal with it appropriately. But the way that we don't deal with it is getting rid of the brown people.
All right, I let you finish. Now you're going to let me finish. Now, first of all, nobody said anything about getting rid of anybody. And that kind of categorization of an anti-immigration sentiment is a part of the problem. Now, that said, here's what happened in South Africa. They were more diverse than we are. They had more people of color, beautiful people of color in their country than we have today. They were surrounded by each other. They were mixing together at the highest rates possible in the post-apartheid era. And then all of a sudden, what happened? We see white genocide happening all across the country. We see violence against white people. We see open calls from politicians to do violence against white people. We see
Where?
government policies breaking down the anti-discrimination laws in favor of laws like land expropriation without compensation, meaning they take land and capital from white people.
Can we get to the point, please?
By force.
Please.
I let you finish. You're going to let me finish.
Well, because
They
what I
take
said was
land and
relevant.
capital
What
from
you're
the
saying is
government
dumb
by
and irrelevant.
force. What you're saying is irrelevant. Let me finish. They
Yes,
take
sir.
land from white people by force at gunpoint, and they give it to people of color. Why? Because white people handed over political electoral power in that country to the people of color in favor of ideas like diversity, like you're describing today. And it ended with white genocide. I don't care what your studies say. It doesn't matter. I can point to history. I can point to historical examples of exactly what is happening today. In fact, there are
And
other
I can point to
countries like
historical
that, which we'll
examples of
get
people
into,
making the exact same
and it
arguments
led
that
to
you're
white
making
genocide.
right now against other types of white people coming into this country. I can point you to areas in history where people literally were saying, we cannot let these types of white people come into the country because it will be race suicide, is what they were claiming. This was almost a century ago. The arguments
Are you unfamiliar
the
with
arguments
the racial
that
tensions with the
Hey,
ethnic
excuse me.
tensions?
Sir, I let you finish.
go
Thank
ahead.
you, please. Listen. What? Actually, I completely lost my train of thought. But when it comes to the South Africa thing, it's terrible that happened. That sounds really unfortunate. That's really sad. But thankfully, we're living in America. We don't live in South Africa. So thankfully, we can look at the way that what trends suggest here. And also, there are laws in place against that type of discrimination here in America. So what do you honestly think is going to happen here? Do you really think that all of a sudden a bunch of brown people are going to come into the country and white people are going to be like genocided? I'm trying to understand here. I thought the little Timmy question was like a kid's getting bullied in school. Now all of a sudden it sounds like, help me understand here. What do you think is actually going to happen?
I can see that you're having trouble trying to understand, and I think that has something to do with the fact that you're interrupting rather than listening. So here's another example for you. A country where they had anti-discrimination laws, another country where they had a greater amount of diversity than we have in America today, a country where they were striving for inclusivity and diversity. Of course, the white people were in the countries which were the most prosperous countries in Africa, South Africa and Rhodesia. Now, Rhodesia was they had a nuclear program way ahead of their time. They were a highly successful country. They were they had farms in a place where it was desolate before they hand. They were very well off, and they were striving for diversity. They had anti-discrimination laws in handed over electoral power to the non-white peoples. What happened? Those anti-discrimination laws, which the white people put in place to protect everyone of all races, including themselves, they went out the window. And then what happened? You had the new president come in and the new government come in, wipe all of those laws out, and drive the whites out by force. In fact, they were told
Got it. So
by
you're
the
afraid.
president,
So let me understand.
they were
This
told
is
by the president
so you're afraid
to
that all of a
leave
sudden
the country
so
for
you're
their
afraid
own
that
good.
got it. So you're afraid that more brown people are going to come in here, take power, and then make it so that it's legal to discriminate against white people, right?
So you say take power. What I'm talking
We're going to
about
hand it
is
over to them. This is what
electoral
you're going to
power.
say.
You
So yeah, we're
understand
going to
how
give them
democracy
electoral
works?
power.
It's who has the most numbers. And so you're advocating for more numbers of non-white people who have racial grievances against white
That's a
people to
lie,
come
though,
here.
because brown people tend to vote more like progressive. And usually it's the progressives that are more in favor of like broader voting rights, yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't understand. Like, usually they tend to be more progressive. How are they going to vote all of a sudden one day that it's okay to discriminate against people based on their race?
You're saying they care about voting rights. They're doing that for the non-white people specifically. They're trying to get undocumented illegal immigrants in America to be able to vote. Why? To further disenfranchise the historic
This is a
American people,
pivot
aka white
completely.
people.
I asked you a very simple question. If brown people tend to vote more progressive, why are they all of a sudden going to, if hypothetically we give them power, why are they all of a sudden going to vote in favor of discriminating on the basis of race against white people?
Why did they do that in Rhodesia, Hunter?
I
Tell
don't
me
know.
that.
You tell me. You're the
You
one that
don't
brought
know.
that example
You don't
up.
have an explanation for why these things
Do you have
happen
an
across
explanation?
history.
Why?
Yeah, I do.
Because you have a
actually. It's
feeling,
because they
just
had
like
a
the little
racial
Timmy thing?
grievance against white people, and they wanted to enact that as soon as they took power. That's what it was really about for them. That's why you have all of these people. I mean, it's people like you that say it all the time, that white people just need to advocate for more immigration in order to win over the Latino voters
So,
in the electorate. Why? Because those people see
okay,
the others
this
coming
is-
here from those
I
nations
got it.
as their people more than they see Americans as
So
their
let me go
people.
ahead and just ask the
Because
question
they are.
again, since this is just, I think every time I ask it, you kind of run back to your
You
dialogue
just don't
tree.
like the answers,
But
man. It's obvious.
If brown people tend to vote more progressive, hypothetically, if they were to take electoral power, why would they suddenly vote in favor of discriminating on the basis of race?
Yeah, I mean, again, these so-called progressives that you're talking about are the ones pushing this critical race theory stuff, which is explicitly anti-white. You have professors in universities openly advocating for white genocide. You have these beautiful people of color coming up. I saw a video just
This
the other
is really
day
cute, but
coming
it's
up
so
to
funny how you're
proclaim
unable to answer
in
the
a
question.
university.
It's
Hey,
actually
I let you
hilarious.
talk. I let you talk. This is a back and forth, right? Is it a dialogue, not a monologue? Isn't that how debate
I don't know.
works?
Every time I ask you a
Alright.
question, you go on to a monologue. It's
You
just,
ask me a question, you don't like the answer, so you're interrupting.
All right.
Again, I am answering your question very directly. Your question was, these people who are progressives, who are voting progressive, why would they suddenly become racist against whites? Was it
Mhm.
not? Okay, here's the answer. It's because they already are racist against whites. This critical race theory stuff is anti-white racism blatantly. You're seeing it all over the place. You're seeing white privilege training in the military. You're seeing it on all of our top corporations. You're seeing it in the media. You're
Mhm.
seeing it in the universities.
the
Open
hyperbolic straw man.
advocates
Yep,
for
here we go.
in college universities, professors
It's
advocating
everywhere.
for white genocide. You're seeing black
Mhm.
students go up to white students and say, "This
Yep.
is not a space for you.
Oh, I knew that
it's
would
a
come up.
space for us,
Yep.
people of color,
We
and
all saw
you're
that
not
one too.
allowed here." That's not very progressive or inclusive, is it, man?
No, it's not. I would be against that. Yeah. So of course I would be against, bullying people on the basis of their race, obviously. But when it comes to like critical race theory, it's actually not supposed to be used in any way to condemn white people. In fact, according to this guy, Richard Delgado, he is a professor. He's also a leading expert on critical race theory. He's also the author of numerous articles on CRT and its legal framework. And he said, quote, "No good teacher should make a kid, either minority kids or majority kids, feel guilty. Parents know that that's not a good thing to do with your children. No good teacher guilt trips kids." This is a CRT legal expert. So
Let him finish.
So this is what I think is funny is, see, you have a lot of anecdotes, and that works well with conservatives. You know, when they're kind of already scared, this is actually a common historical thing for white conservatives to be very terrified of losing their majority status, because for some reason, and I don't know why this is, but oftentimes it seems that white people tend to view equality as a zero-sum game. And that's not the case. It's not giving equality to brown people at the expense of white people. It's rather just creating a better environment for everyone that's more diverse. And like I already said, more diverse areas lead to more inclusive environments, which only makes the little Timmy question more unlikely to become a reality in America. So you can have your scary stories, and I condemn, by the way, anyone saying that like white people are bad or white genocide or whatever. That's not actually how these subjects are supposed to be taught. There are some people that are stupid, but generally speaking, no, the little Timmy question thing is not going to happen.
All right. Well, again, there's this talk about equality and diversity, which really just means non-whites gaining power over white people. And it's you talk about equality. How about this? We have all of the affirmative action. We have the Great Society, Black History.
So are we done
Month,
with
the King
CRT?
Holiday. We have black appointments to the cabinet and Supreme Court. We have all of this stuff. We have the traditional black caucus. We have all of these
Why?
things.
Who cares?
Would you be okay with there being a white caucus in America? Would you be okay with White History Month and explicit what pro-white?
What does this have to do with like the little Timmy question or anything? Like, is it
again,
just because like somebody might
try
not be
and
okay
follow
with
the
it?
logic here a little bit. I know it's tough for you.
Well, no,
but
there's
again,
also
I
a big
asked about
difference between
equality.
like,
You brought up equality, and I'm asking you about it now. You're okay with all of those organizations existing, right?
I don't
Are
know.
you
I
okay
haven't
with
looked
pro-white
into all those organizations. I couldn't really give them my endorsement. I'm sorry. I don't know
Yeah,
if you're
are you
trying to like
against-
back
are
me
you
into a
against
corner
the
here or
existence
something,
of the
but
Black Caucus in Congress?
I
You're
I
against
would
the
have to look
existence
into it
of it.
more. I don't know. I'd have to look into it more. I really.
Yeah, of course you would.
Well, yeah,
so
I can't
that's-
just tell some. I can't just say that I endorse something or don't endorse something here.
It's a very simple
but, like-
concept, man.
yeah,
It's
but,
the
like, I
idea
just- I'm not-
of the,
it's-
the blacks in Congress growing their numbers specifically on the basis of race because they're black. Are you okay with that happening?
I don't know. You tend to exaggerate the truth, so again, I'd kind of have to look into it. I don't really know if I could say yes or no to that
They're
question until I know
advocating
more.
for the interests
I usually
of
try
black
not to give
Americans.
really like
They're
strong answers
advocating
there,
for
but
an increased number of black Congress people. It's
even if
very
that's the
simple,
case, so
and,
what? If
and you're
you know
a
what,
little
let's go ahead and
wishy-washy.
say hypothetically there were suddenly like an influx of black Congress people. Who cares?
And again, they're advocating
I wanna know why
for the
you-
interests of black Americans. What the reason why I brought that up is to ask you, are you okay with switch equivalent, equal pro-white groups existing?
Why are
That's
you so?
equality, right? Everybody gets the same rights.
I'm
Everybody gets to do the same
I'm
thing.
wondering why you're so like terrified of this hypothetical future where like
You know,
a little
you've asked
boy
a lot
gets
of
bullied.
questions, and I've been
but-
answering them. I just asked you a very simple one, and I'm curious.
It's
I think
because you just
everyone
you,
can
the
see why
questions
you're
you try to
refusing
ask me
answer.
seem to be well, no, it's because the questions you're asking me are like they seem very irrelevant to the overall subject, whereas for me the questions I'm asking you seem very
Your
direct
questions
and focused.
seem
Like I'm trying to
irrelevant
ask you a
me, but I'm
specific
still
question here.
answering them. It's called a logic train, okay? So jump on the train with me and let's follow it down the rabbit hole real quick. So you talked about equality. Well, if equality doesn't just mean growing power, advocacy, and numbers of non-white people, if equality truly means equal rights, equal abilities to congregate, gather, advocate for their own best interests, why would you be opposed to a traditional white caucus? Why
Well, the
would you
thing
be
is
opposed to
it's
white
not
history?
it's not so much that I'm opposed to it. It's more that there doesn't necessarily seem to be like a direct need for it the same. Where again, if we want to look at like how kind of we were already talking about how white people already hold disproportionate amounts of power here. So I'm, again, not really sure what this has to do with making the little Timmy question become a reality. If you want to
The
talk a little bit
idea-
about critical race theory, I'd be more than happy to. There are certainly some areas, by the way, that critical race theory is invoked in ways that I would condemn, in ways that I would say, fuck that, we're not supposed to be like essentializing white people as being like colonizers or whatever. But a lot of the times it seems like you kind of want to essentialize white people for like the good things that they've done, right? So like rather than you don't want to essentialize white people with the Holocaust or something. And I agree, you shouldn't fucking do that. That's stupid. But then it seems like you say, well, I want to, talk about how white people built this society, or white people did, like, it doesn't have to be all about race, nor, like, again, by focusing so heavily on that, it only makes the little Timmy question more likely to become a reality here.
So you're for essentializing and focusing on race when it comes to the bad things white people have done, but you
No.
refuse to acknowledge the objective
No, I don't-
reality that white people built this country?
No, I don't agree in the essentialization of race in general. Like, I don't think that it's fair to say like white people built this
What do you
country.
think
Like,
critical race
people
theory
who
is
built
about,
this
man?
people who built this country were white, but like they weren't successful with this country because they were white. Like, I don't agree with the essentialization of race, just like I would be I don't agree with it when it comes to bad things either.
Okay,
So, no.
again, it's we're talking about history here. So if we're talking about the bad things which white people have done, and you don't want white children growing up in schools to feel guilty for
Mhm.
all of this, then why not talk about the good things which white people have done? You seem really opposed to that.
Well, no. When have I said I'm opposed to that? I said that it's fine to talk about good things that I guess like people who are white have done, but like again, it's not they weren't successful at these things because they were white, right? So like
No,
it's the
not just-
essentialization
not
that I
just
think that we
things
can
that
find some common
people
ground
who were
on.
white have done. It's that Western Europeans built the entire culture. They built the roots. They built the civilization, which led to the civilization which we live in today, and we should be grateful.
But that
to
wasn't
our
because they
ancestors
were
for
white. Yeah, sure. I'm grateful for our ancestors for fucking making building America. Yeah, sure.
And what's more than that is that
But
people
what
of
is that-
color should be grateful to our ancestors for building this civilization too.
Okay. Cool.
Now, all of that said, again, you seem to be dodging the question when it comes to the something like a pro-white caucus or pro-white organization.
Why does there
You say
need to be
there's not a
one?
need for it.
Yeah, why?
Here's the need for it. Here's the need for it.
All right, tell me.
You yourself admitted that there are elements of critical race theory which are widely being pushed and taught today.
No, I did not
And,
acknowledge that.
Not just in the universities, not just in the schools, but in the media and by the government, which are essentializing white people as colonizers and as evil.
That's
Now,
not true. Can you point me
given
to
that-
an example of that happening in like schools with like kids, please?
Yeah, they're handing out books to kids that show white people with devil horns and a stack of cash in their hands, man.
Where?
It's like what do
When?
you think that
Was this
imagery-
one
what
school?
kind of
Is this
effect
like a
that has
constant
on
thing?
children?
Is this one school, or is this like a constant thing going on, or help me
It's
understand here?
absolutely an increasing amount in schools. In fact, there's an article you saw just today or this week. It's a white liberal woman put her daughter in a majority non-white school because she wanted to have her child grow up in more diversity. She had to pull her out of the school because of bullying based on her race. This is happening everywhere, man. And again,
So
all of that
convenient.
said,
Yeah, listen,
with all of these
racist
things
bullying can
happening,
happen,
with
but
all
you
of
know
this
what?
anti-white sentiment increasing,
So
the critical race theory, the bad elements of it, as you would say, that are being pushed. Don't
That's
you think
not what's
that
being
maybe there
pushed.
should
So-
be an advocacy group of people who are against that? It's not going to be the people of color. It's not going to be the Black Caucus or the Latin Caucus who is against that. It's going to be
Why are you so
white
obsessed with
people.
this caucus thing when like we again came here to talk about the little Timmy question? But I'd be
I
more than
mean,
happy
do
to
you know-
answer
do
this
know
for
how
you. So,
Congress works,
for
man?
example,
we're
the
talking about a group of people in
That's
Congress
nice.
who are
So,
specifically
critical-
advocating for the benefit of a specific
Okay.
racial group.
So
Why
with-
is it okay for everyone
Okay,
except
so
for
when
white
it
people
comes
do
to
that?
the critical race theory thing, what it really comes down to is with critical race theory, it actually is about examining how culture, history, and society intersect to create environments and outcomes. All right. There are certainly some anecdotes you can point to that show some teachers being disrespectful or bastardizing certain tenets of critical race theory. However, the vast majority of schools, and you can read this from what K through 12 teachers are literally saying, the vast majority of schools are not teaching this white people are all colonizers thing at all. Instead, they are simply teaching about equality. They're teaching about Martin Luther King. They're teaching about general historical truths. It's not a bad thing. The way that critical race theory is it's an academic field, right? It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. You can justify bad things. You can justify good things. At the end of the day, it's supposed to provide a lens for you to look at. And I would just like to point you again to the critical race theory expert that says that no good teacher should be making any kids feel guilty. So now that we're done with the critical race theory thing, you never actually, maybe you know what? Maybe I can give you a straight answer for your caucus thing when you can answer my question with how the fuck you think the little Timmy question's actually going to become a reality when white people hold the disproportionate amount of power in virtually every space and the country's only moving in a more progressive direction. Help me, please.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. So again, the reason is people like you are pushing for white people to have less and less power in this country. And especially the non-white groups are pushing for white people to have less and less power, capital, all of those things you mentioned.
What do you
in this
mean? How
country.
so?
And they're going to keep going. They're
How
going to
so?
keep advocating for their own ethnic in-group. You're advocating for it yourself. Right now, you're saying white people have too much power in this country.
Didn't say that. Holy shit. Listen to yourself right now. You just put massive words in my mouth. I didn't say white people have too much power. I said that white people do hold.
So do you think they have just enough power or not enough or too much?
They hold a disproportionate amount. Too much makes it sound like I'm like against it. Like I just said that they have a disproportionate
So you're okay with
amount.
white people holding a disproportionate amount of power in this country?
I mean, for the time being, sure. But if they stop holding the disproportionate amount of power in a natural progression kind of way, then no, I don't see the problem with that. Like if people want to vote for people they like or people change it.
Status quo of the power distributions in this country, why do you have a problem with me advocating for it to stay this way?
Are you advocating for it to stay this way? Or are you advocating? Uh-oh, hold on. I think did my stream just cut out? Guys, am I still here? Hold on. Okay, yeah, sorry, my thing cut out. Are you really advocating for it to stay the same? Because if you ask me, you're pushing this creepypasta white supremacist wet dream that, oh, boo-hoo, one day this little kid's gonna get bullied, so therefore brown people bad, white people losing power, yikesy yikes. Like, this is just every regurgitated groyper talking point kind of construed into like
that's really cute, but you still haven't
rhetoric.
answered my question. So again, we're talking about Congress, we're talking about systems of power, we're talking about democracy and the electorate here, and people within these our representative groups advocating for the interests specifically of other racial groups. Why do you have a problem with people advocating for the best interests of white people, especially given that you've already admitted that a lot of this rhetoric and language is going too far?
I don't have an objection to people being okay, like advocating on behalf of like, hey, white people should be treated like with decency and be treated like everybody else. I agree with that. But oftentimes this we want to be nice to white people thing quickly becomes at the expense of minority groups, and you're doing it here. You're saying, what's wrong with caring about white people? This isn't just caring about white people. You're saying you care about white people, but it's at the expense of reducing immigration, being against
flip that right back on you
being against immigrants, being like this is
that you advocating for the best interests of non-white people is happening at the expense of white people, and I'm here to combat that. I don't think that white people are a problem in this country. I actually agree with you that the distributions of power in this country are all right now, and they should probably stay that way.
I mean,
So
I'm
what's
okay
the
with them
problem?
changing, but I'm okay with them just changing naturally and everything else. I just think that what you're really coming down to is you're propagating fear here with this little Timmy question. I know that you red-pilled Brittany with it, and it's because, like I was saying earlier, it's non-falsifiable. It's a hypothetical. It's impossible to actually disprove because it's not real. It's never happened. It's as if
I've given you half a dozen examples of
It's
how
like-
it's already real today.
No,
and
you've
with an
given me
increasing
examples.
amount of
You've given
non-white
me
people in
examples
this
of a
country.
couple people
In
getting
electorate.
bullied, and you
It'll
know.
get worse.
Hold on. Hey, listen. You've given me examples of a couple people getting bullied, which guess what? That's fucked up. That's bad. But you know how we fix it? Introducing more diverse and inclusive areas. So, for example, according to this government website, education.gov, on racist bullying, they go for all students to feel connected, protected, and respected. Schools need to build a culture that is inclusive, values diversity, and does not tolerate racist bullying. So this is,
it's that
again,
kind
the
of
way
language
that we
led to
prevent
things
it.
like
So
forced integration, which led to racial tensions.
what's
being
forced
worse than ever in
integration?
this
Are you
country.
talking about the 1965 thing that the majority of Americans were in favor of? Or which one was the forced integration thing?
Sure, well, you could say the majority of Americans, like the huge population centers in New York and California, that forced.
I
the
love how
National
everything's
Guard
a
to come
pivot
in
with you.
and
It's
level
so
bayonets
fucking
at
hilarious.
Americans, level bayonets with rifles at Americans in small towns in order to force a school busing of non-white children into their schools.
Well, that's
You
probably
have,
good, actually, because that's fighting against racism. So that might be kind of based. But that's honestly a conversation for another
of course
time.
You would say
Either
that, man,
way,
that's
when it comes
exactly
down
the
to
problem.
either way
It's
when it
this
either
sort
way
of
when it comes down to the
inclusiveness
either way when
language
it
is
either way when
absolutely that's where
either
it
way
heads
when
every
it comes
time.
down to either way when it comes down to the racist bullying in schools and the problem that you keep trying to allude to, this little Timmy question thing, like I said, the way that we solve that is not by restricting diversity and trying to make it so that there's more white people. Again, racism oftentimes is a result of a lack of exposure, right? So if someone is unfamiliar with people that look different than them, they are more likely to be racist. But that doesn't mean that that's a good thing, and that doesn't mean that we should abide by that. Instead, we see, according to the various studies, I can send you 5 different ones, one finding a causal link between living in a more diverse neighborhood and being more pro-social, more inclusive. It is honestly way less likely for this little Timmy thing to become a reality so long as diversity continues in this country. And you can keep on fear-mongering about this and alluding to this and pivoting to that, but at the end of the day, we came here to talk about the little Timmy question, and there is no evidence at all that the little Timmy question is a reality. And I think that's why you keep trying to pivot off of it, is because you realize that this is a dipshit story, and that's all it is. It's a creepypasta.
Honestly, I know I'm not the only one laughing at you right now for not understanding how Congress is directly related to the little Timmy question, how state policies and corporate policies and military policies are related to the little Timmy question, how children being taught in schools that they're evil. When you have,
children aren't
the
being
books
taught that.
handed
See,
out
right
to
there,
kids
that's what
that
you
show
do.
white
Every
people
time
with
you gish
devil
gallop,
horns
it's
and
hilarious.
talk about racism.
Children being taught.
Hey, I let you talk for a good 5 minutes.
No,
just
because
now,
you
man.
lied,
How is
though.
that
You just
not a
lied
gish
straight
gallop?
up. You straight up just lied, and you are gish galloping. Gish galloping is where you spew out a bunch of dumb fuck points and you don't give me any chance to respond.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So what you just
okay, then let's talk about
no,
your anti-white
no,
slurs again.
we're
that
not
you used in
moving the
beginning of this debate
conversation. We're
if
going
we're
to
make it
every
personal. Because
dude
again,
every time.
you
We're gonna make
yourself
it
came out of the
personal.
gate
Okay.
with racism
Wait,
against white people, and
you
you're
came on
advocating
here and
for
called me
more
a
of it
grifter and
right
said I got
now.
turned to the
And
left by my
you're trying to
girlfriend.
gaslight
What?
everyone in the white population here in America and pretend that you're not okay with racism against white people while spewing racist slurs yourself at the beginning, from the get-go. So how are you going to convince all these people who are listening right now that you're not okay with racism against white people while you're spewing anti-white racist slurs?
Are you okay right now? I know I've been asking that a lot,
you
but
know,
it just you
honestly,
seem really mad, and
I
every
think
time we
it's
start
hilarious,
talking.
man.
So let me get back. So
You know, if I
wait.
came out talking to a
Hey,
black
Mod,
guy,
am I
and
allowed to
even
talk now? Because I feel like I should be able to respond, right?
right now,
So
you
the
think
reason that
he would have it
oh my
justified in
God,
his
dude.
response?
Holy
where you're
shit.
talking about racism.
I don't
man.
think this guy knows how to stop talking. He's so triggered from the get-go.
You know, I waited for a good 5 minutes, and then you
came on
kept
here
interrupting.
so
You
triggered.
said I'm making dumb fuck points. You're talking about
Holy
what
shit.
Gish Gallop or whatever the
This
fuck.
is a Gish
That
Gallop, and I'm
doesn't
trying
matter,
to
man.
explain that, but
No,
I
I'm
haven't been
talking
able
about
to because you
Congress. I'm
literally
talking
will
about
not shut the
electoral
fuck up for 5
demographics.
seconds
I'm
here.
talking about state policies, and you don't understand how that
Mia.
relates to children in schools?
Mia,
All right.
let Hunter respond.
So,
All right, go ahead.
all right. So, a Gish Gallop, like I said, is when you spew a bunch of dumb fuck talking points and don't give me time to respond. A perfect example of like what you were just saying before we went off on this little tangent here, where you're like, children being taught that they're evil for being white. Stop. That's where I want to stop you, because that is bullshit. And what you do is you create these insane hypotheticals, and then you expect your opponent to play into that hypothetical, and that's how you quote-unquote beat them in the debate. And I'm not going to fall for it because it's a classic Gish Gallop move. So yeah, where are white kids being taught that they're evil for being white? Is that actually happening on a broader scale? Or is that happening one time? Was there one time where one teacher said something that was controversial? Or is this happening all the time? Do you have statistics to prove this? Or is this literally just you rambing off talking points? It sounds like you've heard from 4chan.
Now you understand that what you just did is a Gish Gallop, right? Because you
No.
spewed a bunch of dumb fuck points. I let you talk for 2.5 minutes just now, and now you're gonna let me do the same without interrupting, without
talking about the
anti-white
same thing.
racist slurs, without personal attacks. You're gonna let me talk now, okay?
Wait, why are you?
Now,
Hold on,
we
really
have-
quick before I let you
Yeah,
talk.
of
Why
course,
are
of course.
before
this
I
guy
let you
can't
talk?
stop talking.
How
He
are you
doesn't know
calling?
to
How are
listen.
you
He
getting
doesn't
mad
know
at
to
me
let
for?
somebody else talk.
But how are you
This
getting
is
mad at me for
exactly what a
personal
Gish
attacks when
Gallop
you attacked me personally at the beginning?
You're supposed to stop talking at some point in the debate, dude.
Okay,
It's
you
you
attacked
talk,
me
and then I
personally in
talk,
the
and then
debate,
you
and now
talk,
you're
and then I
mad at
talk.
me for.
But you just want to do the you talking
the-
part, right? That's what this is all about for you. But that's not how it works, man. So
Okay.
here's where it goes. When you show, I mean, everyone knows that the devil is evil incarnate. It's the symbol of evil incarnate. So when you draw the devil as a white person holding a wad of cash, and then you hand that to children in 5th grade or whatever and teach them based on that book, yeah, that's teaching them that white people are evil. In fact, if you look at the contents of that book, then that's exactly what it says. And so it's like, no, that's not a lie. That's not a Gish Gallop. That's not a dumb fuck point.
I'd really like
That's
to see that,
happening to
actually, if you
kids
could
in
send that to me.
America right now, and there's nobody advocating for them except people like me. And you
Where
have
was
a
this
problem
pamphlet?
with it because you want to be able. It was in New York in schools. Now, it was you have a problem with it because you want to be able to spew anti-white racist slurs on stream wherever you go just because you think it's funny. And you talk about inclusion, you talk about diversity, you talk about equality and all of these things, but you're okay with using racist slurs against white people from the onset of a conversation with anybody. How do you justify that, man? How is that equal or inclusive?
Okay, I called
Yeah,
you.
it's not.
I
It's not. I mean,
called
again,
you
it's,
Mayo
you get called out
because
for being racist while saying that you're against racism, and you have nothing to say at all.
no, it's
pathetic.
actually well, hold on. It's actually that I was googling New York school white people devil, and I wasn't able to find it. So maybe if you could send me a source on that at some time or another.
Yeah.
But again, I called you Mayo or
I'd
Mayo
like an
Crack or
answer to
something.
the question
Yeah,
now, please,
I'm
because
trying
you've
to-
answered none of my questions so far.
I'm actually trying to answer your question right now. So I've already answered this a few times. I called you Mayo because your name is Mayo, and you're also
you said
like.
Mayo Cracker, actually.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
right.
So
Yeah.
I first called you Mayo and then Mayo Cracker because it was funny because your name is Mayo, right?
Yeah,
And it
it's funny
sounds like
because
Mayo,
it's
and
an
you're
anti-white racist slur.
okay. So
All right.
it's because you're a white nationalist, and also
When did I ever say that? Excuse me? That's a Gish Gallop. That's a dumb fuck point. You just made that up out of nowhere. I'd like a source for that, please. Give me one time where I've ever described myself as
Do
a
you
white
just
nationalist,
hey, you know, a
an
debate is where we're
ethno-nationalist,
supposed to.
or
Hey, buddy,
anything
do you
like that.
did you know a debate is where we're supposed to go back and forth and talk? We're supposed to have a dialogue. Did
Yeah,
you want to
I'm
just
not
hear
gonna
yourself
let you
talk?
throw around mean names for no reason.
Did you think
personal
this was the
attacks
time where
that
you're
are
just gonna
lies and have nothing to do with the
personal
debate or
attacks that are lies? Why don't we focus on that for a second? Why don't we step away from the little Timmy question, who I'm beginning to think may have been you in school, actually. So let's step away from the little Timmy question. Instead, talk about why are you getting so fucking hung up on personal attacks when you literally opened this debate calling me a sellout who moved to the left because my girlfriend brainwashed me. You realize you
Do you
open
think,
with that and now
what
are
do you
crying
think is
about
worse?
personal
What do you
attacks?
think is worse, that or white nationalist?
What you said about me, by far. You are a white
Oh yeah,
nationalist.
does
You're
that get you
advocating
canceled
literally.
from having a
You're
job in the
peddling the white
future?
supremacy talking
Does
points,
being a
dude.
sellout
You're,
whose girlfriend convinced you to be a leftist prevent you from getting? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, you cut out at the end. Could you say that
Yeah,
once
does
again?
being a sellout whose girlfriend convinced you to be a leftist prevent you from getting a job in the future, Hunter?
Is that
Because
an answer to
being
my
a white
question? So
nationalist
that's
does.
not actually a true claim at all. That's not like a fair criticism of me at all.
Oh yeah, who convinced you to be a leftist if not your girlfriend?
No one convinced me to be a leftist. I convinced myself after doing my own
Right,
research,
of
listening
course.
to debates. I did debates myself. I did research. Like, you know, it's this thing
Debates
called like
with your girlfriend?
no, like there's a thing called critical thinking, and you know sometimes people actually mature as they get older, right? So
Oh,
as they
really?
get older, yeah, like so if I had the same views as I still had when I was 19, that would be pretty silly, right? Like I'm 24 years
Funny, I
old,
had the
I'm
same views
married.
as you at 19.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's funny because like I'm a dad, you know, I have 2 kids, I'm married, living that trad life, of course. So yeah, you know, it's just I don't know. Guess that's all.
So again, it comes back to how do you justify your racism against white people and your anti-white racist slurs when you are clearly trying to pretend that you advocate against racism for all people? You're advocating for equality, right? Does that
Because
include
like
not having racial slurs used against you?
dude, I'm white. You're white. We're allowed to say mayo crackers. Now, if a black person said it, I think that that's pretty problematic. We could, of course, have a conversation on whether or not that would be considered racist and, you know, where the line is. Like, are you, like, when are we allowed to say the N word, for example? Who can say the mayo cracker thing? But I feel like that ultimately is a conversation for another day. I'm not really sure why you're so mad about it, but clearly it did what it was supposed to do, which was actually offend
Yeah,
you and make you mad. I'm surprised
you
because
know, here's why
you
it,
just seem
here's
really
why it's
triggered.
relevant.
Yeah, you got
You seem really
All
triggered.
right.
Like you seem really triggered and really offended. And like it's just funny that you come on here like literally crying. Like we're hearing your
Again, he's not
tears.
making points right now. He's just saying you're triggered, you're crying.
Well, I'm
Is this
trying
what
to
the debate is
my
about? I
overall
mean, is
point.
this what we're gonna moderate and step in so that he can just keep on going like this for another 5 minutes? It's pathetic. And
You're
really,
so
it's
mad.
directly relevant to the conversation itself. No, I'm
My
not. I'm not
God.
mad. It's about the topic itself. It's because little Timmy, the exact question of little Timmy is that people are going to be racist against him, and not just people of color, but other white people who are taught that it's okay to be racist against white people, just like you're being and promoting the behavior right now.
Okay, so again, I already explained why I called you specifically mayo cracker, and also, like I said, I'm white, so it's okay for me to say it. When I go up
So
to
do you
like
think if I met a black nationalist, I could call him the N-word?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. Like, I wouldn't go walk up to like a little kid and be like, "Yo, what's up? You're a mayo cracker." Like, no, that's probably not cool. And honestly, if someone were to say that to him in school, especially, then they probably should face disciplinary measures. But again, the little Timmy question is more about like this little boy that's like ostracized and bullied, almost segregated because he's white. But again, this is assuming that when white people become a minority, that it's going to just be like all of a sudden less white people and more brown people, when a lot of the minority quote unquote status is going to come from like interracial marriage. So there's just going to be more like brown people ultimately. It's not like it's going to be like blacks outnumber whites kind of thing. It's going to be like a much more mixed type of area. And like I said, the reason I'm not worried about it is because thankfully we have various different studies that have already pretty solidly proven that more diversity leads to less racism. So ultimately, it seems like by continuing the flow of immigration that we have, by continuing talks about diversity, I think that it's good. You know, I agree. Don't essentialize people on the basis of their race, good or bad stuff. And yeah.
All set? All right. So, again, I mean, you want to talk about diversity, you want to talk about inclusion. If the biggest cause of minorities rising is interracial marriage and mixing, then what's your problem with stopping immigration to not make it worse? To have foreign nationals with a different background, who, by the way, have inherently they don't work as well together as people with similar backgrounds, regardless of what you teach them. And it's stated in Pew Research that
So
when
there are
people
already people
force
in this
feed this kind
country
of,
that
hey, I let you talk, man. Where's the moderators? All right. So we've got force feeding this kind of bias can in it can or force feeding inclusion can activate bias rather than stamp it out. It says the positive effects of diversity trading rarely last a day or two, and a number of studies suggest that it can activate bias or spark a backlash. It says that having folks with very different backgrounds working together is also a source of conflict. So given that that's the
so
case,
that could be
with
very
people like mixing together who have a similar shared background of being Americans, I'm less concerned with that than I am with foreigners, foreign nationals coming here, getting the right legal documents through immigration or amnesty, and not working as well together with us and with you
okay. So what
trying to
actually
force feed this kind of diversity training into our system.
So I'm not sure where that study was done and if that diversity training was like referring to schools or not. But of course, if people have like various different backgrounds, that could sometimes lead to them not working as well together. But again, there are people with different backgrounds that are white. There are white people in this country with wildly different backgrounds. Trying to put a white lumberjack working with some CEO black millionaire in New York City, they're going to have different backgrounds. Or if, a white millionaire CEO, they're going to have different backgrounds. It's going to be harder for them to work together. However, thankfully, we have studies also that show that when their backgrounds are more similar, which immigrants assimilate at higher rates. Muslims, for example, are more progressive than white evangelicals, and immigrants tend to, on average, commit less crime. Even more so, we can see here, according to McKinsey.com, I'm showing this on my screen, how data suggests diversity correlates with better financial performance. And it shows how when companies specifically embrace more diversity, they outperform when it comes to earnings. So diversity absolutely plays a benefit in the workforce. Your idea that like different backgrounds don't work as well could be true, but that would apply with white people with different backgrounds too. Doesn't really speak to anything to do with immigrants. Whereas I actually have studies that show that diversity directly plays a correlative role in boosting profits because it brings people with more insights, more context, more nuance, and overall more efficiency.
All right, well there it is. I mean, again, it's you just said it yourself. The argument for all this is to increase the GDP for the giant corporations.
No, that's a
Interesting enough,
what?
whoa! I let you talk for a good 5 minutes just now,
It's just
man.
the
All right,
pivots are
the
insane, but
moderators
I'm
are only going to
sorry.
step in on your behalf when I get 15 seconds to
All
talk
right,
to your
Neil,
5 minutes.
relax.
That's absurd.
All right, go ahead, Neil.
All right.
So
Now we've got I mean, it's what, I'm 5 seconds into talking and this dude is interrupting already. All right. So again, we've got, you said that it increases the profits for these mega corporations like Amazon. Well, guess what diversity also does? It decreases unionization. It makes it so that people are less likely to unionize. What does it take to form a union? It takes social cohesion. It takes trust. It takes people trusting each other and working together for a common goal and a common good, not for the corporation, but for their own best interests as a people. Now, they're less likely to do that when you have more diversity. So you take that principle
But
and expand it into our
immigrants
country
vote more
at large.
Democrat.
And well, hey, I'm still talking, man. You increase that to us at large and our nation of people, and we're less likely to have a union. We're less likely to have trust, social cohesion, work together. It's interesting also that you said that that immigrants are more likely to assimilate. More likely than who? You said why? Because Muslims are more progressive. So your idea of assimilation is how progressive people are? Sorry, that's not how this country works. We've got two parties, and they're all just as American as each other. The last point is that
What?
these people, you said, well, you've got white people in this country who are different from each other, have different backgrounds and stories. And that's true. And they're less likely to work together, a lumberjack and a CEO, than two lumberjacks working together. However, all Americans are more likely to work together than people from foreign nations, especially those who don't even speak the same language as them.
Okay, so again, we're kind of back to the main argument, which is that diversity is going to hurt social cohesion. Which again, you brought up the union thing. I've heard that stat before. I'm not as familiar with it. I know that it's based on some shoddy data. Unfortunately, I would have to look into it a little bit more. But even so, it doesn't really matter because generally speaking, like I said earlier, brown people tend to vote more Democrat, and Democrats, generally speaking, tend to be in more support of unions, especially when it comes to the case of like Joe Biden, for example. Also, when we're talking about diversity hurting social cohesion, it's just not true. For example, you can talk about like changes in trust, but oftentimes if there's a decrease in trust, it's because of polarization and economic instability. So it says right here, according to a longitudinal study in 22 European countries with low polarization and a good economy, immigration was shown to actually increase social trust. So this idea that social cohesion will be harmed by immigrants, again, a long-term talking point by white nationalists. No evidence of it. There has been study after study. No proof of it. Yeah. Do you not like that I bring up studies or something? Do you want me to send you this one
No,
here?
I'm talking about white nationalists. You have no reason to say that. It's a lie. It's not true at all. I've never said anything like that. I've never advocated for white nationalism, ethno-nationalism. I've never said anything like that at all whatsoever. Do you even know what the definition of white nationalism is?
So, study 3, for example, found that people living in more
of course
ethnically
not. Yeah, of
diverse
course you don't.
countries were more likely to report having helped a stranger in the past month. Providing evidence to the underlying mechanism, study 4 found that people living in more racially diverse neighborhoods were more likely to identify with all of humanity, which explained their greater likelihood of having helped a stranger in the past month. And then finally, study 5 found a causal effect, with people who were in more diverse areas being more willing to help their fellow neighbor, more pro-social overall. So, no, I completely reject your social cohesion argument.
All right, well, all that said, everyone knows that studies can be biased. In fact, in the social sciences, there's a replication crisis where most of the studies, more than half of them, actually haven't been replicated at all. And it's largely due to bias in the methodology.
I'm
So,
aware of that, but that
taking all
exists
of
in
that
all
with a
kinds of
grain of salt.
fields.
Hey,
And that
how long did I just let you talk, man? How many times are we going to play this game?
I was just
Do
hoping
you
we could
not
have
know
like
how to
a
listen at
back and
all? This is
forth.
probably why you ended up the way that you are, is you have no idea how to listen at all whatsoever to anyone else who's not just agreeing with you.
Except to my girlfriend, apparently, because she was able to convince me, right? So I don't listen to you, but I listen to my girlfriend when she didn't
Yeah,
agree with me,
we
right?
all know that you're completely whipped, dude. So it's like you don't have to admit that on stream.
It's just
Now,
apparently I
that
only listen to
said,
people that agree with me, but yet I listen to my
yeah,
wife who was able to brainwash me and to be a liberal. I
unless
don't
they're
know.
willing to sleep with you and they're holding out if you don't, I guess.
Got it.
So
Yeah, try
again,
make it make sense. I got it, buddy.
it's we're going back to the social cohesion. We can take all of those studies with a grain of salt,
Wrong.
knowing that they haven't been replicated, knowing
Rug.
that they have no the methodology is probably biased, and we can really look at the bottom line of people who don't lie, and that is the corporations working for the bottom line of their dollar. Amazon does not lie to themselves in their own internal documents when they are looking at what causes or stops unionization. In fact, that's something they take deadly seriously. There are leaked Amazon documents where they show that they have data analytics which track what makes a store more or less likely to unionize, and they have found a negative correlation between diversity and unionization, meaning the more
Amazon found
diversity
that?
that a
Wait, you're
store
believing
has,
what the massive corporation found? They're saying they're against unions,
no,
right?
these are leaked. They didn't want this to get out. This is what they look up and what they track in order to figure out what makes a store less likely to unionize. Believe me, that's worth more than any social
I don't know. I heard
science study.
Amazon has a replication crisis, so I think that we should take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's
Meanwhile,
hilarious.
wait, quick
One
question.
thing
If
that
there's a
Amazon does
replication, hey, quick
successfully is
question.
make
If
money
there's,
and they stop people from unionizing.
I got it.
And
So
that
if there's
said,
a problem
again,
here with
I know
this,
you really don't want to hear this point, but I let you talk, man. Now, Amazon, they have negative correlation between diversity and unionization. What that means is the more diversity a store has, the less likely they are to unionize. It's that simple,
are you
man.
done?
Yeah, I'm done now. Go
So
ahead.
it's really, really ironic, and it shows just how fucking disingenuous you are that you would say we can write off my studies because there's a replication crisis, and now you're citing an Amazon study to me that was leaked on
Not a
their internal
study.
memo, whatever, that said it was found with a lower correlation. I don't care. At the end of the day,
Of course,
I don't care. And I don't know why
this
you
doesn't
did
agree.
either, because I thought that you hate the big corporations. Second of all, if you want to talk about a replication crisis, fine, that there is a replication crisis at times. However, this has been borne out in various different data sets, okay? This has been replicated, my friend, repeatedly. 5 different studies found that people in racially diverse neighborhoods are more pro-social. Another study found that white people become less racist just by moving to diverse areas. Even if they don't interact with other people, they tend to become less racist. This is borne out in the data. You have your leaked Amazon memo, and that's cute and all, and you can hold on to that. Maybe, I don't know, jerk off into it tonight as you cry yourself to sleep. But I actually have data and studies here that indicate that diversity overall benefits social cohesion. And no, it does not benefit the massive corporations. It rather shows that companies of all sizes are more effective when they have diversity. And that's because, like I said, it brings in more nuance, more context, more experiences that contributes to overall better efficacy of that company. So no, this isn't about benefiting the large corporations. I don't know what you're going to try to pivot to next, but this is just not happening, my friend. You're living in a fantasy world right now.
Again, you're talking about the GDP. You're talking about profits, and there's a book written about
That
this
wasn't
with
the
a
only thing I
study.
brought up. I
It's
brought up
called We
social
Want It
cohesion
Work.
too.
Man, how many times am I gonna have to tell you to stop interrupting me?
It's just everything you say is wrong,
Do you
so I
not
have
know
to
how
cut
to have
in.
a
I'm
damn
sorry.
conversation with anybody at all? You must be a lot of fun to talk to, man. Like seriously,
Except for
because
my
it's like,
girlfriend, apparently. I don't
yeah,
know.
well, everybody can tell. I mean, everybody can tell right now that what you're doing is pathetic. You are so scared to hear what I have to say next
You're
that
right.
you don't. And honestly,
I'm
it's
quivering.
just it's right along with your track record, being scared of debates, refusing to debate Nick Fuentes unless it's a 2v2, refusing to debate someone like even Big Papa Fascist. Because
Hey,
you're
how
like,
come
oh
you're
well,
being
well,
personal now?
I can't
Why
debate
is
him.
he
I'm bad
insulting
at
me? Hey,
rhetoric and I'm
mods.
weak at debating. So I'm just gonna
Mods.
talk the whole time.
Why
Because
is he
I
being
don't
mean to
know
me,
what to do.
mods? Can we stop with the ad hom attacks, please? I thought we're here to talk about little Timmy, buddy.
I heard a couple from you just in the last couple minutes. So, we can stop on both sides if you like. We can stop this white nationalist rhetoric. We can stop the anti-white slurs that you've been spewing. We can stop this bullshit about crying
It's not
yourself to
anti-white
sleep at
slurs.
night.
I'm
But
white,
everything
bro.
I'm saying is true and facts. What
Yep.
you're saying is a lie. And so it's like everything I'm saying is true.
Yep, everything he's saying is true. Everything I'm saying is a lie. Powerful rhetoric right here, Mayo.
Unironically,
Wow.
yes.
Dude, hold on. Shh, what's that? I just heard 3 more people getting red pilled. Oh my god, dude. So powerful. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I know.
actually,
Everything you
speak to
say is
this, I
just
wouldn't
correct.
be
Everything I
surprised.
say is just wrong
Now,
because
back
you
to
say
the
so.
topic at hand.
Meanwhile, I
It
actually have
says a lot
data
about you.
that heavily
Back to the
indicates
topic at hand.
that diversity leads to less
So
racism.
we all just
I'm
heard
gonna
that.
keep
You just
I know
said
I'm
it
gonna
4 times.
because
man.
I'm gonna keep saying it because that's
Yeah,
the
right,
truth because it's
you're
actually
just gonna keep talking
no,
because that's
I am
how
going to keep
debates
talking
go,
because
you're
no,
scared
because
to
you
hear
won't
what I
ever
have
shut
to
the
say
fuck up
next.
and you want to
You're
pivot to
scared
5
of
different
everybody.
topics.
You're scared to debate anybody at all that there
Guys.
is, and it's
Yep.
pathetic.
I'm
And
I'm
Guys,
honestly
really-
stop talking
quivering.
over each other, please.
I'm sorry. I just got really scared there. I'm sorry.
all right, so
Yeah, do you want to
again,
get back
it's,
to the attacks or do you want to go back to the topic? It's up to you.
Yeah, back to the topic. It says a lot about you that you don't understand that the one thing that the big major corporations that are the most successful in this country are good at is making money. It's proving to themselves, it's tracking data and using the analytics to figure out what makes the most money and to figure out what keeps their workers from unionizing. That's something they do very well. Whether you like what they're doing or not, you have to admit that that is one of their greatest strengths. And again, using their own data and analytics, not your non-replicatable studies, not using even 5 studies, using different metrics, all by different each other.
It kept
This
cutting
this
out.
data shows that you have less social cohesion, less likely to unionize, or less likelihood to unionize the more diversity that you have. And again, I would even go against. Here's a direct counter argument to your points that you made in your studies. You're talking about how people, when they grow up with diversity, that they are more likely to all work together. And you know what? Even if that's the case, it's the people who are naturally growing up in more diversity, more diverse neighborhoods here in America. They are, it's you know what? Fine. They're growing up. They're less opposed to each other. All well and good. What I'm talking about is people who are foreigners coming into this country who have, again, all the studies, this Pew Research, many studies are showing that people with different backgrounds, people with different shared
Everybody
histories and
knows
stories
this.
are less likely to work with each other. So again, I'm not
Everybody knows
opposed
this.
to people from different areas within America all moving to be all together with one another and sing kumbaya. I'm opposed to you bringing in foreigners from different nations that are less likely to work together with any Americans and have social cohesion and trust issues with them. That's
So I
the
don't know if
issue,
we're
man.
gonna. I don't know how much longer the debate we have, but we're gonna start just looping because basically he's
This
kind of
guy
said
is
this, and then I'm
terrified
saying the
right
same
now.
thing. Yeah, you're right.
Well, we
I'm
can do
honestly
Q&A
quivering.
if you want.
No, we don't need to get there just yet. It's just that like he's just saying the same thing that you've kind of already said, Mayo. Like we've already gone over this already. Like, no. As diversity increases, people become. Here's another study for you. I'll go ahead and send this one over to you right here. Actually, this comes from as diversity increases, people perceive social groups as more similar. At national, state, and individual levels, more diversity is associated with less stereotype dispersion. So again, I'm really just trying to keep us on the subject of little Timmy. And I think that overall, throughout this conversation, I have pretty handily proven that there is no indication that we are heading in a direction that there's going to be a little white boy bullied for being white, and that's just going to be like acceptable, okay, normal behavior. That is not going to happen, whereas we have way more evidence that diversity has benefited America greatly. For example, there are multiple different items that you use every single day, all of us use every single day, that were invented by black people. Like, there are so many ways in which diversity has overall improved our society. And even when we're talking about immigrants, they pay more into social welfare systems than they take out. They
GDP.
They greatly benefit the economy. And you can go ahead and say that's just the GDP. But you know what? That benefits working, middle class, white Americans too. That benefits everyone. Immigrants being here benefits everyone. And your scare stories, your wet dream that one day some little boy is going to get bullied and is going to get treated as bad as you like to treat black people, is just bullshit. It's not going to happen. And the thing is I know that at the end of this conversation, even though there's so much evidence to show that white people are in disproportionate positions of power and that we're heading in a more inclusive direction, I know that none of this is going to register with you because at the end of the day, this isn't a real argument. It's because you're racist. You don't like brown people. You feel uncomfortable by them. They give you this kind of uncomfortable gut feeling.
That's
You feel like you kind of want to go poopy in your pants. And
Oh,
that's
Brandon,
really
can
what
we
this is
please
all
stop the personal attacks? I'm so scared. I
That's
don't
just
like
what this
anything
really
you're
comes down
saying
to at the
about
end of the
me.
day, is because I know no matter
Oh, you're a racist, white nationalist cracker.
right, because I know no matter what I say, or how many times this is debunked, you're going to just keep on regurgitating and repeating the same brain dead dumb fuck talking point.
All right,
because
so I count 5 minutes. That mean I get 5 minutes now? Yeah. Okay. So here we go. It's again, this is not just simply repeating the same points. We are talking about the fact that people of different backgrounds, they do not work well together. And again, we can do my studies versus your studies. It's like the results are based on like who funded the study, who conducted the research. It's like we can go back and forth with that all day long.
All right, could you
But
actually look at my study and tell me if it's invalid,
bro, I
please?
got 30 seconds in before you
Yeah.
interrupted. Holy shit, man.
Sorry.
You really don't know how to shut your damn mouth, do you? So, again, getting to the point here, we have Americans, you're arguing for Americans growing up in their diverse communities across the United States. You're arguing for Americans all moving together and working together well, being less racist against each other. All well and good. Whatever. Fine. I'll grant you all of it. But again, we have the issue that foreigners with a different shared story, a different history, who speak a different language than us, who won't ever speak our language the same way we do, all coming here, and they are less likely to work together, more likely to have bias and social cohesion issues than Americans. And it's because they are different. It's because they are not us. And so you're like arguing beside the point. You're arguing for Americans who are all together, working together and moving in different diverse communities. I'm arguing against foreign nationals coming here who will inherently cause problems with us. And it's not they're the ones causing the problems. It's that people from different shared histories coming together, it inherently causes problems. And so again, I'm arguing against immigration because these people. Right? No, everyone doesn't have a shared history.
People have
We're
different
all
histories.
just stardust, man. We're all just humans.
No, that's not what I said. It's funny.
Work.
You can't even engage with an actual argument without like hyperbolizing the opponent to like absurdity. It's actually really hilarious.
Oh yeah, right.
But
it says the guy who's calling me white nationalist racist because I oppose immigration.
You're over here worrying, like fear-mongering, crying your eyes out about white people becoming a minority. Like what am I supposed to walk away from that? Again,
I'm talking about immigration issues. I'm talking about people.
I know you are, but
presented
you just
you
keep
with studies. I presented you with data.
I've presented you with studies and data. Your data so far
will inherently cause problems with us,
Dude.
and you're arguing for more of those people to come in. You're arguing for more problems, the exact problems that little Timmy
I'm not
is
arguing
facing
for
and
more
is going
problems.
to face
Your more problems is one thing that people with different backgrounds don't work as well together, which is true. Thankfully, immigrants tend to assimilate. Thank goodness, right? So
do you not understand what background means?
Also, there's a difference, right? White people have different backgrounds. I'm going to keep saying it because you keep bringing up the same thing. There are white people.
Not as different as foreigners from
foreign
nations.
Just as different,
moron.
yes. If someone comes over here and is, it doesn't matter how different or how much the same they even are, but there absolutely
a lumberjack
are.
and a trucker is just as different as people in China and Latin America.
I'm not
and
saying
Africa,
they're all
right?
the same.
No,
See, there you go again, hyperbolizing.
There
you go again, hyperbolizing. The
no, they're foreigners from the countries that you want to bring them in from.
No, they're foreigners who are people that are coming here because they want to usually pursue better lives, or
doesn't matter what they want. They have a different background. They're less likely to work together, man. It's that simple.
That's just not true. When we have way more data suggest
from Pew Research disagree
people with
you,
different
man.
backgrounds doesn't mean people of different ethnicities or people of different races. So once people assimilate, it's quite obvious again that diversity has an overall beneficial outcome on society. I don't know if I need to send you this study again that showed how all of these companies were able to generate more revenue from having diversity. Specifically, that diversity had like a strong correlative effect. I don't know how many times I need to bring this up. I know you want to cite like Amazon said in a leaked email that diversity was bad, so it's bad kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know.
Right. That's what I said. I'm the one hyperbolizing.
Well, yeah, you're very much like you're all over the place, and it's obvious too how mad you are because when you fall off the dialogue tree, you get really, really frustrated.
Yeah,
and then it kind of just derails the conversation the whole time.
Assimilation, and I'm talking about backgrounds. Do you understand how those two things are different, Hunter? Can you wrap your head around what
apparently
a background
don't?
Is
I think I need a higher
amount
IQ.
Of assimilation that gives you the same background.
I think I need a higher IQ to understand
that concept.
I think I need a higher IQ
where
to
you're
understand.
from, and assimilation is where you go. It doesn't matter about assimilation if you have a different background. All the studies show you're less likely to work together. Assimilation aside, and these people are from a different
Just if
country.
they're less likely to work together doesn't actually mean that they're not
history.
going to get like along the same way. And
Yeah,
again,
no, that's
how come
exactly
you're
what the
citing
studies
studies
say.
now? But
They're
wait.
from
How
a
come
different
my
background.
studies there's replication issues and they should be taken with a grain of salt, but now you're using studies?
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Hey,
nobody should use any studies. It's again, it's like take all of it with a grain of salt, okay?
Mia,
But,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you okay? Would you be against immigrants from like Western European countries coming here?
Yeah, no, I think so. It's they're not us. They have a completely different story. They would vote in wildly different ways than most Americans today. Yeah, there is
What does
the
that
American
mean?
ethos of the historic America. Do you not understand
What do you mean
about
vote
the shared
differently?
story?
Like
Do you
white
know what a
people
nation
vote
of
super
people is
differently than
in an
other white
international
people.
relations perspective, Hunter?
It's just
Have you
you
ever
say that they're
taken
going
a
to
class
vote
on this at all?
Well, no. It was that you said they're going to vote really differently, but it's like white people vote really differently than other white people also. Like, I'm not really sure
Yeah,
what.
but for different reasons. They have sure they have different ideas in their heads, but we do have some things in common. If you want to talk about like Spaniards or Italians or Germans or Hungarians or whatever coming here, then they're gonna have different ideas in their heads. And you know what? They are less likely to work together than with us than other Americans because they have a different shared history, a different background, a different shared story. Which it's like, okay, you know what? Throw out all the studies. It's obvious, man. If you put people from different countries who speak different languages, who grew up on different nursery rhymes and stories and ideas in their heads, who have like completely different backgrounds all together, they are less likely to work together than
Yep,
people who were all raised the same, who
I
went to the
agree.
same type of summer schools, who went to the same schools, who had similar backgrounds. It's obvious that they're less likely to work together. You don't even have to use your brain that much for that. And so it's like, yeah, as opposed to Europeans coming here as anybody else. I don't think we need any more immigrants in this country right now. I think that really what needs to happen is we just need to put a moratorium on all. I think we need to shut it down. I think our country has a lot of problems that we need to sort out. We already have social cohesion. We have racial tensions at basically an all-time high, and it's like, we need to
So
deal with
then
this
how
stuff
come?
before we bring in more foreigners who will only increase the social cohesion issues and racial
Right.
tensions.
Okay. So do you think that we've taken more immigrants? Would you agree that we've taken more immigrants in over the period of like from 2007 to 2016 or so? Like from that time
Then
period?
what?
I don't know, just like the similar amount, if not more
Then
so.
then all of the rest of American history combined, or
Well,
what?
no, not more than American combined. It's just that like even from like 2007 to 2016, like conscious and unconscious bias regarding race declined, right? So it's like, where is the social cohesion being harmed here? More
No,
diversity, less
actually,
racist
we have
attitudes.
what's really happened is you have racial tensions at they went down around 2008 when Barack Obama got elected, and there was there was a lot of hope about that. People called it transformational for the country. Or did I say that right? Yeah. And but really what happened is after all of that, the racial tensions increased and got to the point where they're like worse than 1965 today. They're like at the worst levels in American history, and it seems like the trends are heading for things to get worse. And so it's like bringing in foreigners who have a different shared story than us, a different shared history, a different background altogether would only escalate those tensions, would only make it worse.
Okay. Do you just like feel that way, or do you just like think it's gonna happen magically? Like, the thing is, okay, I'll be honest. I don't have 145 IQ, so maybe now that you do, you're able to like read the future or
Oh, believe
something.
me,
But
I
it's
can
just that
tell,
like
and so can everybody in
I know
chat
it's
right
just
now.
like this is happening. I'm telling the truth. Like just asserting something doesn't actually make it true. Where like I actually have like data points suggesting that like the
Using
trends
your
are
brain
heading more
makes it
towards.
true if you have a brain at all, which
No,
makes
it's
sense.
more
This entire
right. Have a
debate
brain at all.
makes
It's
sense
more
when you
about the
understand that
direction, like
you
looking at
don't
where the.
have one. You need to be told what to think by the TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's exactly how it goes, my dude.
Because what I'm saying is blatantly obvious that people that have a shared story, are more likely to work together than people from different backgrounds. I mean, think
I
about it
honestly
like
think
this.
if
You
everyone
said it
had a
yourself.
mandatory,
You've
if
got a
everyone was
lumberjack and
like,
you've got a CEO, and they're less likely to work together than two lumberjacks to have things in common, to understand each other, to be able to speak
but
on the
that has
same
nothing to
level.
do with
It's the same
race
thing.
or
It's
social
the
or
same. Well, no, it
ethnicity.
has to do with foreigners from different nations. And again, it's like the lumberjack, the CEO, the trucker, they're all more likely to work together as people who were raised in America as Americans
Or maybe it's
than
because
they
they're all in
are
the
with
same
anyone
career
else from any
field.
other country.
Dude, maybe they're just in the same career field and that's why they work out. I don't know. I know you have your like Pew
No,
Research
it's
thing. Like, of
again,
course, people
I'm
with different
quoting.
backgrounds might not always get along the best. But again, I
Everybody
guess we're just gonna keep
understands that you come
repeating
from
the same
the
things.
same
But like,
background.
when it comes to immigrants assimilating, that's
I'm
always
repeating the same
beneficial.
things because you
And when it
can't
comes
wrap
to
your
like,
head around it.
no, it's because you just keep on repeating the same thing. Like this conversation's been looping now for like almost a half an hour.
Okay, well then here's a new question for you. Do you live in a highly diverse neighborhood yourself,
I
Hunter?
don't think I'm gonna go down your line of
Oh
interrogation.
yeah,
Do we
of
want to move
course
into the
not.
Q&A?
Of course not. Yes, he's living in a majority white gated community and advocating for everybody else to be bringing in more foreigners into this country who are
No,
largely just
I'm
low skilled
literally.
workers. Everyone saw the pictures of the southern border. I mean, it basically looks like
Holy
Haiti under that
shit,
bridge
dude! Are
now,
you all right?
and
Can you
it's
stop?
like,
Do you know it's?
hey, I mean, Hunter, why don't you just send your kids
Do you know?
to a majority black school?
Here we
a
go again,
majority,
hyperbolizing.
non-white school.
Why don't you just send your kids into the pit of night in Chicago, huh, Hunter? So how
More
progressive
diverse and
now? Got
inclusive
him.
and
Oh,
less
wrecked.
racist?
Oh,
Don't you want
so
your
wrecked
kids
right now.
surrounded by beautiful people of color so they're
Oh,
not
I'm
as
getting
racist?
destroyed. Oh,
Isn't that
Mayo.
what you
I'm
said
sorry.
is going
I
to
don't wanna
happen,
be,
man?
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't want to be racist. Mayo, thank you for the conversation very much, my friend. Do we want to move into the Q&A now? I know you've been very mad this whole time,
He
but
is so terrified to let his kids around non-white people. He won't answer the question. Yeah, you can
this
argue all
is
this
actually
stuff in your head all
irrelevant
you
to
want.
everything else,
You
and
can
I'm
quote
fine with my
studies
kids
all
being
day
around
long.
non-white
When it
people.
comes to you and your children, your girlfriend, your wife, you're gonna make sure that they live in a majority white
That's
neighborhood.
bullshit.
And
I don't
go to
look
a
at. Hold
majority
on.
white
No.
school.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to push back against this because what you do is you just assert lies and then you laugh and snicker about it like in typical groyper fashion.
Well, why not
It's
answer the
complete
question? It was
fucking
very
bullshit,
simple,
okay?
man. Why not
First
send
of
them
all,
to a majority non-white
first of
school?
all, when my daughter was born, all right, I lived in a majority black neighborhood at the time when my daughter was born. So for you to even say that, bullshit, okay? I'm not
So
an
you
insa-
moved
Hold
out
on.
of a majority
Am I even allowed
non-white
to
area
talk? Holy
into
shit.
a majority white area?
I
Hunter
moved
is
for
white
work.
flight.
Oh
Hunter,
my God.
we're
So
white
let me
fleeing
go
right
ahead and give
now,
you a
man.
quick little.
That's racism. Don't you
Yep.
know that's systemic racism?
Is this how you?
What is the
Is
deal?
this
man?
your like
Why did
winning?
you
Is
move
this your version
from
of
a
winning a
majority
debate?
non-white
All right,
area?
so I guess I'm just
when
gonna
your
keep
daughter was
talking since
born
this
to a
guy's
majority
clearly too
white area?
delusional to know when to shut
Why
the
did
fuck
you
up.
do that, Hunter?
So anyway, what happened was first I was in a neighborhood that was majority black, and then both for work-related reasons and to be closer to family, we moved to a different apartment, and then moved again, and now who knows? We might even be moving again. You know, usually when I move,
Why does your family want to
usually-
live in a majority
excuse
white
me,
area?
It had nothing to do with majority white people. See, it's really funny because, again, you complain a lot about how, oh no, people are essentializing white people as being these bad people. You essentialize white people all day, every fucking day. And the thing is that I don't actually look at like, who's black and who's white. Are there more black people? Are there more white people in this area? Because what it is I'm not an insecure little bitch who needs to rely on the fact that I'm white in order to give
you
me some
upset
kind of
now,
confidence.
Hunter?
Well, hold on.
Funny how I didn't
hold on.
even have
Can
to
I
use
can I respond,
slurs to
please?
get
Hold
you
on, wait.
that
Can I
upset.
respond,
Are
please?
you triggered? Are you gonna cry
Hold on.
yourself to
Can I
sleep,
respond,
Hunter?
please? Because what it really comes
Go
down to is
ahead.
I'm not afraid of like the white people becoming a minority because I don't hold on to some like confidence. I don't hold confidence in the fact that like I'm white and people around me look white. Like I don't know about you, maybe like without a lot of accomplishments, that might be like something you want to hold on to. But like as a guy living the trad life with a wife and 2 kids, I don't know. It seems really, really silly to me, you know?
Oh, all right, man. It's you know what? I will end this since you're so desperate to get out of here, man. I'll throw you an olive branch.
I'm so
at
desperate
the
to get
end
out.
here.
Oh, please.
I'll say
Please let me
I'll
out of the
say
ring,
this
Daddy.
much. I hope that your kids, when they grow up, that they don't turn into little Timmy and little Tiffany, and that they're treated well. I hope that they don't experience the violence that non-white people are committing all across the country against white people. I hope they're not taught to hate themselves by people like you.
I would
But
actually
I
like to
guess we'll see
interject
how
really
that
quick
turns
too.
out. I really wish the best for them. I'm glad that you're having children. Repopulate this country. It's all for the best. So I'm really happy.
As a groyper, you are a groyper. I'd appreciate if you stop talking about my kids, please. That's kind of creepy. But I would
Saying
actually
I
like
want
to bring
the
up
best
really
for
quickly.
your children growing up. Get the fuck out
So
of here.
really quick, I actually
I
have a.
tried being nice. You all saw it, man.
So
He's tried to make it weird.
I have a
Why
way
do you
better.
always take things to a weird place when it comes to kids, Hunter?
It was just a groyper talking about my kids. It just has a very icky kind of connotation with Nick Fuentes' history and everything else. But what I really am worried about
Nick
too
is
is
great
that
with kids. He's a wonderful guy. He's honestly way more polite than you are.
Oh,
in
that's so
every
cute.
debate
So
that
I
he's
have a one
ever
too
been
for
in.
you.
He's
I have a
civil,
question
he
for
waits
you,
for his
and
turn
it's
to talk. He's always patient. He's kind. He's charitable, more charitable than you, I'd imagine.
so I have a question now. I have a different
overall,
question.
just a really good guy. So why
Cool.
won't you debate him, Hunter? Why are you so scared?
It's a little. Aren't you like super straight? Like it's kind of Why are you sucking his
Why
dick
are
right
you
now?
why are
That's
you
so
so
creepy.
scared
Oh my god.
to debate this man,
Why
Hunter?
are you sucking his dick right now? Are you gay? Oh, you're acting
Oh,
really
man.
degenerate here. So
Let's
okay, let me
hear-
ask you
let's
this
hear-
question really
let's hear
quickly.
the answer to
So,
the challenge,
when it comes
Hunter.
to the
Why
little,
won't you debate
my
Nick
God.
Fuentes
dude,
on anything at
when it
all? Why are you
comes
so scared
to
to debate anybody,
the,
Hunter?
I've been
It's
debating you for
probably
the,
because things like what
Buddy.
happened today, huh?
but
Yeah, I mean, you're
I've been
begging to get
debating
out
you
of
for the
this
last half
one.
hour, my friend. Okay, listen.
Oh, please,
Here's my
please
example,
let
okay?
me go. Please, can we go to the Q&A? Are we done yet? We've been running in circles. I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable. You're a little bitch. You're gonna cry yourself to sleep. You're a groyper. You're a white nationalist,
Holy
racist
shit,
mayo
this guy is
cracker.
actually
It's
really
like,
mad.
that's the entire history of this debate. You can just clip that, and nobody needs to even watch it at this point. So
Okay,
I
yep,
guess we
I
can finish
got
this off. We
wrecked.
can ask Brittany, did
Mayo cracker
Hunter
wrecked me.
smack down little Timmy, drive the nails into his coffin, and unred pill you? Have you taken the blue pill and you're no longer scared of what's going to happen because Hunter's so smart and his facts and evidence just
I mean, there is a lot of evidence
blew me
suggesting
away?
that it's not going to happen. And mainly what you have is feelings and fear and hypotheticals at the end of the day. Also, I never got to pose my question, which was actually the little Jamal question. Okay. And this is my version of a hypothetical future in which Mayo becomes the ruler or whatever. Okay. So with both the rise of white supremacy violence, the persistence of systemic racism, and people like Mayo and other groypers, it only follows that Jamal will inevitably be bullied by his peers, thrown in prison unfairly, or potentially even killed. And that is the debate next time. Maybe next time, me and Mayo can talk about the little Jamal question. Because right now, there's way more evidence that that future could actually become a reality instead of the one where little Timmy is oppressed for being white.
Sounds interesting. Could be a fun topic. You know, I'd be shocked and surprised if you're even willing to have another conversation. But hey,
It depends. Are you gonna bring up my wife again? Like, that was really creepy.
I'm hanging
That was
out.
so weird.
I'm having a good time. What? Saying that your wife convinced you in politics?
Well, no,
like, grow up, dude.
No. What was weird about
Oh,
it?
he's bringing up my kids. He said he wished the best for them after I brought them up.
What was
How
weird about it is that it was
horrible.
like,
Oh, the horror.
what was
Yeah,
weird
right,
about,
dude. Okay.
buddy, what was weird about it was more like we were here to talk about a specific topic, and then you like threw in like some random personal attack on me and like that my girlfriend changed my mind. That's why it was like so out of left field. Like that would be so weird if I
well,
tried to do
everybody
something like
knows
that, but-
something happened, man. Because honestly, it's like your YouTube channel's obviously gone way downhill.
Is
It's
this
like,
what you'd rather
I've seen
debate on?
clips
Would
of
you rather
like,
just debate on
crying about your engagement ever since you got totally cucked, and now you're just
Crying
like,
about
well,
my
I can't piss
engagement?
off my girlfriend by being right wing anymore.
Crying
so I
about
have
my
to
engagement?
disavow
When did this
everything I
happen?
used to say. Yeah,
Holy
I've
shit.
seen the clips, dude.
When did
Everybody
I cry
can
about my
look 'em up.
engagement? Yeah,
It's honestly, it's
Wait,
embarrassing.
can I
was
ask you seriously?
humiliated for
Am
you
I
just
allowed to
watching.
talk? Am I allowed to respond? Are there actually clips out there where I'm saying that my wife forced me to do it and I'm crying about my engagement?
Oh, but believe me, it's implied. You can tell
Okay,
that
got
that's
it.
why it happened.
Got
Because
it.
it's like
Oh,
everyone knows you got
145 mind
convinced
reader IQ boy,
by
back at it again.
somebody. You
Dude,
know,
it's
there's
hilarious.
many such cases.
Apparently
if you're
you know the
not
future, you
if
know
you're
my
not
thoughts.
A
This is
dominant
insane.
Man in your relationship, if you're not living a truly traditional Christian life where you hold the reins in the relationship, you're the man wearing the pants, which everyone can tell you're not that guy, then it turns out that your woman is the one running
Yep.
the relationship.
I'll have to
telling
embrace
you what
Christ
to
and
do,
I'll pray for you,
holding
okay,
out
buddy?
on you whenever she wants to, instead of you taking it whenever you want to. And,
Taking
you
it?
know,
Holy
it's like
shit.
we can all
Dude,
tell
I hope you're
the
not
dynamic
married.
in your relationship
Dude,
without
listen
even
to this guy.
seeing your
This
wife,
is
dude.
fucking hysterical.
Just by
He
who
comes
you
over
are.
here. He says it was creepy he says, "Why are you implying that it was creepy for me to bring up your wife and your kids?" And then you go over here, "We know she holds out," instead of you taking it whenever you want? Holy shit, are
That's
you a
more
virgin,
of a
my
critique
friend?
on your character
Are you okay?
itself, man.
Oh my
I know that
God.
you're not that guy.
Is that what you
all
think
right?
sex is like? That's not what
I
it's
know
like,
that
by the way.
any
At least it shouldn't
relationship
be.
that you have is not that type. It has nothing to do. I've never seen your wife. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know anything about your
I'm just
wife.
shocked at how
All I
mad you are
know
about
is
my
about you.
existence. It's
I do know what you
hysterical.
look like. I've seen your posture, the way you carry yourself. I see how weaselly and
Bruh,
pathetic you
how
are
are
in
you?
every
You can't roast
conversation
my
you have.
appearance if you don't have
How
a picture.
cowardly you are when you avoid any conversation with all these people that you're so terrified of.
Dude, you don't
And
even have a
everybody knows
picture.
what the nature of any kind of dynamic of any relationship that you're in has.
Guys, look, he
So
doesn't even have a
honestly, I'm
picture.
embarrassed for you. It was humiliating,
How are
like
you
just
roasting
watching
my
that clip
appearance when you don't
of
have a
you looking
picture?
at your
This doesn't.
analytics
Oh
and
my
crying,
god.
literally crying about like your lack of engagement and how nobody watches your stuff anymore because you're so pathetic now.
All
And
right.
honestly,
So can I
it's
respond yet,
ah,
or am I?
I'm not gonna.
Are you done
Yeah,
yet?
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, then we'll go to Q&A.
All right, yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's amazing. This is really cool. I guess this is what happens when you have 145 IQ. This is really cool. Apparently, Mayo Cracker here is able to not only read the fucking future, but he's also able to read my mind, tell me my intention, and tell me what I'm doing off camera, which is a little creepy, but overall pretty cool. Wow, very surprising. I guess this is what the what 145 IQ is like.
Yeah, you wouldn't
yeah, dude.
understand with a sub
By the
80
way, I
IQ.
look forward to reading your novel called The Little Timmy Question, because that's all it is. It is a fantasy based on nothing.
Maybe I'll get a
Thankfully,
book
there's
deal.
plenty of
Huh.
data that shows otherwise. And lastly, really quick before we go into the Q&A, Mayo, marital rape is bad. Okay, I don't know if you know that. Just
Oh,
letting you know.
yeah,
All right,
right.
we can go ahead to go
Yeah,
into the Q&A
right,
now.
of course.
Brittany, thanks again.
Actually, the Bible says not to hold out on each other.
Oh wow,
And
the
always
Bible.
take care of
Yes,
each
such
other
a
and
holy
come
Bible.
together.
All
But
right,
of
I'm
course,
muting
I
Mayo
understand
until we
why
move
you
into
would
the.
call a biblical relationship
I'm gonna just
like
mute the
something
stream
like
until we
rape.
move on to the thing.
All right,
Yeah, of course.
let's
No, we're
move on.
good.
All right,
Can I
so
ask a couple questions?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Just before we get to the Q&A,
wait, am I
so
muted? What the fuck just happened?
Well,
Oh,
let's
okay,
start
go
the Q&A. Questions from Justin.
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
so I didn't want to like cut into your debate, but I have one for each of you. Mio, are you okay with minorities holding power, and would you be okay with a minority majority in systems of power?
Yeah, so yeah, no. I mean, essentially, I've seen what happens in formerly white countries when the so-called minorities, people of color, take power from white people. This is why I brought up earlier what Hunter was so terrified to talk about, which is Rhodesia and South Africa, two historic countries that were created and established by white people that brought all the cool toys in and ran the farm equipment and everything. And then you have the people of color took power from the white people politically, people with racial grievances against them specifically. And what they did is they threw out all the anti-discrimination laws, which the white people invented, by the way, the same people who were the first in all of human history to abolish slavery. And they drove the whites out. You had the president saying, leave for your own good, get out of here. And they used the violence against them. They used government violence against them. They stole their land. They drove them out. And now Zimbabwe, formerly Rhodesia, they're offering what, over $3 billion in reparations for the white farmers to come back. I've got friends who grew up as refugees from Rhodesia. They're not going back because they know what it's going to be like for the rest of that country now. That whites, as a minority in a country that was formerly theirs politically, is run by the non-white people. And so it's I don't want that future for little Timmy. I don't want that future for our people where you see something like white genocide from people with racial grievances against white people who clearly are spewing more and more anti-white rhetoric, like white genocide from the professor at Syracuse University.
All right, thank you. And for Hunter, if ending systemic racism is one of the hallmarks of the social justice movement, and white Americans are ultimately trending toward being a minority, do you think it's possible that the policies that we're putting in place now could ultimately lead to racial power structures reemerging?
Well, the thing that's important to remember is that a lot of this systemic inequality, specifically like in the criminal justice system, doesn't actually come from like black people being a minority. It rather just comes from the like historical systemic inequalities overall. So, I mean, there's always a possibility that a system could become biased or slanted in one way or another, but that's why we need to continue to have conversations about systemic inequalities. For example, right now there's some systemic inequalities against men in the criminal justice system. We could talk about that too. Like, there are inequalities kind of across the board in different ways, but it definitely does disproportionately seem to hurt Black people overall.
All right, thank you.
All right, let me just pull up this super chat because I can actually pull it up. From FP Silver, Hunter, why do you hate Reed Kiwi Farms? What does that mean?
I actually have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't either.
I very rarely have gone on Kiwi Farms, but
Okay, and yeah, we are not accepting any other further questions, just super chats. But from Vexner, Hunter explaining why it is acceptable on national TV, Don Lemon, those kids did a bad thing when kidnap and beat a white kid. Don't just announce it as bad, and why replacing red-haired women with black women. What?
I'm not sure what that means. I know what he's talking about with the Don Lemon thing, though. And yeah, I mean, what Don Lemon said, I'm not just announcing it as bad, but what he said was pretty ignorant, considering that he tried to like blame it on their like circumstances or whatever. But we could just as easily talk about the way that like oftentimes like white people are portrayed differently in the media when they. No, it's not.
Right,
We're talking about how there are other ways too that you could point to in ways that white people are sometimes disproportionately like shown in positive ways even when they're accused of committing crimes versus like Black people. Now, of course, there aren't really stats on that, but there's not really when it comes to the media thing either. There's ignorance on both sides there. I think that, you know, people can do it against white people can do it against Black people. Either way, we should work on trying to address systemic inequalities and not essentializing any one race.
Okay, now I can decipher the. Is that the right word? Yeah, I think so.
Aren't we
Decipher
on Q&A?
but it's the question, the redheads thing. In Hollywood movies, they are now replacing historic redheaded characters from fairy tales, folklore, and movies that we grew up on as kids with Black people, like, you know, Mary Jane from Spider-Man, The Little Mermaid. They're all being turned in. They're being blackwashed, I guess is what you would call it. And I'm curious if you have a problem with that, or you just see that as more diversity and inclusion, replacing, you know, historically white characters with people of color.
Sure. So this seems to be like some kind of a weird trend. If anything, it could show that there might be like some bias against literal redheads, but this has nothing to do with like white people or anything else. I looked this up and it's literally like, it's literally a question like on here. Like
Redheads aren't white
there's,
people.
well, no. But again, it's not on the basis of them being white, right? So like this is talking about like a trend that people are starting to notice is that sometimes redheaded characters are being replaced by blondes, brunettes, bald people, and even people whose skin color doesn't have redheads, so they don't even bother. So it's not just replacing them with Black people. It's replacing them with other colored hair actresses or actors as well. So no, if anything, this would be bias against people literally with ginger color hair, not anything to do with white people. But very nice try, Mayo. Very cute. We can go ahead and get on to the next thing. I'm really glad that I
stand up for the red-haired people.
Of course, my daughter's a redhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'd say it's wrong and that we should keep the redheaded characters and
Hell
not
yeah,
make
man.
them black.
Hell yeah. Well, we don't need to
All
replace them with blondes, brunettes, bald people, or anything else. Yeah.
All right, I agree. Look at that. Look at us, man. Look at us.
Now we just have to
Okay.
agree on reappropriating mayo cracker, man. Me and you, it can be like our own N-word. You know, I can text you like every morning.
You
like,
understand
"Hey,
how
mayo
it
cracker,
looks
what's up?"
to everyone in the audience every time you use anti-white slurs, right?
Do you know what it looks
It
like
just
to everyone in
proves
the
my point.
audience every time you get super fucking triggered when I just make like a little like funny jab at you when you brought up my
It's a
wife
little
in your
funny
opening
joke.
statement?
It's a little
Like
funny
Jesus
joke. Next
Christ.
time I say the N-word at some black guy,
It's not the same.
first
If a
time,
black
because
person
I've
showed up and said
obviously
the N-word,
I've
sure.
never done that in my life. Then I'm just gonna
Why
say,
are you
well, it's a funny joke. It's a little jab. You're so triggered, man.
Okay.
All
right,
right, so
buddy.
Vexner, I guess, was following up.
Holy
Said,
shit.
dang it, Hunter. I'm asking why it was acceptable to say, not that it's bad to say and was said. I'm asking politely again, please answer.
What do you mean? Why was it acceptable to say? It
He's saying,
wasn't.
why is it?
He
why
got a
is it
lot of
even-
backlash for it. I remember, like, at the time when that happened, I was on the right. So I remember when there was, like, a fuck ton of outrage about what he said. So it arguably was not acceptable for him to say that. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't really be able to answer that question. He probably thought it was acceptable to say because he believed that and because he had an unnuanced reductionist viewpoint of these issues at hand. I don't know, but
either that or because as a black guy, he had an explicitly anti-white viewpoint. That's why he said it wasn't a hate crime for them to beat up and torture and kidnap that little white kid.
Do you think that white people ever have like an anti-black bias? Like there are racial biases that
Why
can
won't
exist,
you admit that a black man had an anti-white bias?
A black man can have an anti-white bias. I never said otherwise.
Why won't you just say that one did? That clearly is what drove his statement.
Oh,
and
I mean,
that's clearly why it made it on national television. That's
it
clearly
certainly
why
could
he's
be,
still
but
employed there even after that comment.
Okay, well, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but like, okay, yeah, I mean, it could be because maybe he has some bias against white people. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. There's no way to really know, though. But yeah, I mean, it could be.
Of course.
Sure. All right. So from Dan Zaman, thanks for the super chat. Fight for little Timmy, fight for color blindness, and freedom for all. Oh, and close the borders. Duh. Okay, thank you. I'm just getting the ones that I can actually pull up because they are new, but then we have a bunch that are from before. Okay, from Bosch Fan, thank you for the super chat. If Rhodesia is just one data point or not evidence, then so is the Holocaust. Oh boy. Oh boy. And Jews are justified in worrying about Nazis coming into power again.
Very good point, Vosh fan. What do you say, Hunter?
So the difference here is that, so like, I would be against any kind of anti-white sentiments on Twitter, for example, right? But I'm also against anti-billionaire sentiments. So like, people will talk about like guillotining the billionaires or whatever, and I say, hey, I think that that's fucked up. I don't think we need to be advocating violence or advocating against people like this. And what that really comes down to is that, hold on. If Rhodesia is just one data point or not evidence, then so is the Holocaust.
It only happened once in all of human history.
Are Jews worrying about... Okay, right. So it's about who holds power, and again, the trends that dictate this, right? So like,
we don't want to talk about who holds power.
So right now, for example, like, even though I would be against like guillotining billionaire memes, it's very unlikely that we're actually going to get to the point of guillotining billionaires. Even though I would be against someone tweeting, kill white people, it's very unlikely that we're going to get to a place where white people are like systemically being killed or something. So it's also about like who's in power and the likelihood of that thing happening. So like, it's not about it how it's just one data point or not evidence or whatever. Are Jews justified in worrying about Nazis coming into power again? There's a fundamental difference in that question too, which is that
there's no Nazis, man.
Is that Nazis and or neo-Nazis hold specific beliefs that are antithetical to the existence of Jews, whereas Mayo's overall claim here is that like immigrants are somehow going to take power and then just become anti-white, which that
there's
has
more
nothing
immigrants
to do.
in power than Nazis.
Okay, so
You said it's about who's more likely to take power. There's more immigrants in power than Nazis right now in this country. Do you disagree?
But immigrants do not intrinsically have anything to do with like hating on white people. That would be you making conjecture.
They're less likely to get along with us.
Whereas if they're more likely to benefit social cohesion, pay into social welfare programs, and overall benefit the economy. But okay, buddy. I know you have your one thing. I know you got your one little talking point.
Now I just have one question for you, which is you're against anti-white sentiment on Twitter, you said. Are you against anti-white sentiment on YouTube?
Sure.
Oh, so why are you saying anti-white racial slurs on YouTube?
Because
right
I don't believe that
behavior?
Because I don't think that a white person saying mayo cracker is really the same thing. I don't say racial slurs like the N-word, but I'm white. Thankfully, I have the mayo cracker pass. You can have it too if you're white.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's what it comes down to. All right,
sure.
So you can.
I wouldn't say it's anti. So for example, if a black person, was,
in my views, to call other black people who agree with you the N-word, you would say that's okay, right? So for example,
if a black person like tweeted out like the N-word or something like that, I don't think that would be counted as like anti-black sentiments, considering like a black person tweeted it to begin with, right? So like, when I said mayo cracker, again, I was kind of making fun of you, and I guess it really worked well, considering you're like furious right now. Like, you cannot let it go.
My point, dude.
Is this what happens if you get bullied?
Anti-white sentiment exists. It's so pervasive in this country. It's the only ethnic slur that you can say.
We're
Okay,
all
got
little
it.
No,
Timmy.
I grew up in a majority. Thankfully, I grew up in a majority safe high school, and I had a
A
great time.
majority safe
Honestly,
high school. What is that
yeah,
supposed to mean? Does that mean
there
there
was
were more
very
white
little
people there?
violence.
Does that mean there were more white people there? Is that what you're getting at right now?
It means there was very little violence and very few racial tensions in that high school.
Cool. Good thing more diversity leads to helping that even more.
Not
But anyway, what's
quite.
the next question?
All right. From Final for Hunter, why do you support critical race theory, even though it advocates anti-individualism?
I don't know if it advocates full-on anti-individualism. I don't support critical race theory either. I said in this discussion that critical race theory has some negative tenets and has also been used to justify pretty despicable reductionist viewpoints on some racial issues. I don't know if it advocates anti-individualism. It's possible that it might, by like using the certain lens, it might look at broader groups rather than the individual. That is possible. But again, usually when we're talking about critical race theory, we're talking about an overall academic field. It's a lens of looking at things and a way of talking about racial issues. It really doesn't have anything to do, or at least it shouldn't have anything to do with like white people bad. Usually it's about like different social constructs, systemic inequalities, how we can address more like subtle areas of racism. And like I said earlier, since Mayo can repeat points a bunch of times, like I said earlier, that one critical race theory expert literally said that it shouldn't be used to guilt children at all. So I don't know. That's just what the critical race theory experts and authors seem to be saying. But
And Super Chatter, just so you're not totally gaslighted, yeah, you're right. It separates people into groups based on race, and it says that race is a social construct invented by white people to oppress people of color, which sounds pretty anti-white to me. Go ahead.
Okay. From Dan Zammit. Hunter, what's wrong with Americans worrying about non-Americans coming in and voting against what we believe?
because this is like a common talking point that actually doesn't mean anything. So like there are other Americans, for example, that already vote against what you might believe. White Americans vote pretty progressive, not super progressive, but generally speaking, like the overall country is headed in a more progressive direction even. So I don't think that like conflating this like non-Americans are going to vote against what we believe. That's not even necessarily true. Like a lot of Hispanics are actually very Christian and conservative. So yeah, there's a lot of variance there. It's not as cut and dry as like non-Americans are going to vote against what we believe. Like I don't know.
All right, now he's Super Chatter. He's gaslighting you again. White Americans are by and large, the most conservative ethnic group in America.
My internet's messing up. It's really annoying.
That's
all
not
right,
a
so
win.
from
It
Jack Wally.
absolutely is. Now is his point.
Jack Wally Hunter, why is Hobo Sapien such a beta? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I don't know. Is this the meme, the Alden meme? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Mew, have you read Professor Alden's book, How Rhodesia Collapsed? Okay, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you don't need to read books about it, man. It's like there's video documentaries about it. You can go and see the footage. You can like literally see footage of Rhodesia back when it was a prosperous country. You can see the footage of like interviews of different people when the a new black government was elected, what different people thought at the time, what people thought 10 years later, and everyone agrees it was a net negative for the country. That's why they're begging for the white farmers to come back now and offering them billions of dollars in reparations for the racial injustices which were committed against them.
Wasn't it like quadrillions or something?
So are you okay with some forms of reparations?
What does that have to do with Rhodesia?
Well, you said they're offering them reparations for coming back. I'm wondering, generally speaking, like, how do you feel about reparations? Because I heard
the white people aren't going to take those reparations. It's just that the point is not whether or not there's validity to reparations or whether they work or whether it's like justified, whatever. The point is that they are begging. They're offering billions of dollars for the white farmers to come back, and they still won't. They're offering more and more. It started $1.7 billion. Now it's $3.2 billion. They're begging. They're saying, please come back. We know that we genocided you and we drove you out with violence and we had state condoned violence against you. But please, we need somebody to run the farms. We have what I think Reuters called a man-made hunger crisis in Zimbabwe now.
Okay.
All right, and yeah, you guys, if you
Man, we're all
haven't-
over the globe.
If you haven't hit the like button, do that. Stop being dicks. Okay, thanks. All right, so and we have a bunch of ones that I had to jot down earlier. I don't know if we'll be able to get to the ones that are not super chats because we have a lot of stuff going on here. But from Vexner, last one, I promise. Britt, can you calmly explain to Hunter why you believe in Timmy? Don't mean to put you on the spot. Hunter, please come back later. Well, I mean, me and Hunter had a discussion about it. What was it, like a week or two ago? And I
Yeah.
thought it was a good faith discussion. And I'd be happy to have another one with him. But yeah, I think it's kind of obvious. Like, I don't think that white people becoming the minority is going to be a good thing for white people. I think.
But this is why we should
Yeah,
keep
like-
talking about it, because
and
ultimately
I'd
that
be
just
happy
comes
to.
back to just feeling like that. Like it's a
Yeah,
feeling.
no, of course it is. Of course it is. And that's why, like, when I've had these discussions with people and they kind of try to get into study bro, like,
It's
I mean,
not,
this
but
is
see,
a
it
new
shouldn't
thing.
be. But
No, you didn't do that to me, though, Hunter. You didn't do that to
well,
me.
no, I know I
appreciate
didn't, but
that.
just in general, I just want to address generally speaking, like
Mhm.
study bro, like that shouldn't be stereotyped. Like using
Well-
studies is a really good, powerful way to form
Right.
like well-versed, holistic opinions. So like,
But here's the thing. What I'm saying is that this is a new position for me. This is like something that is like pretty fresh. I haven't sat there and done all the like the the research that you would want for a debate and stuff like that. This
Mhm.
is something that just makes logical sense to me, just thinking about it.
But how?
And so I could because I can understand that mentality that people are going to have that kind of racial revenge because you're seeing taste of it, and it's pretty mainstream that being racist against white people, like that's like in the mainstream. That's not a good thing, and that's like, I mean, having something in the mainstream like tells you where the direction is going in general.
So, I mean, there are some things in the mainstream that are probably unacceptable. Sure, like I said, there's a lot of like dumb fucks on Twitter that'll say like stupid, like anti-white shit sometimes. But again, that like this doesn't mean that like white people are going to lose their positions of like institutional power. This doesn't mean that like if one day we wake up and all of a sudden white people are 49%, that it's going to close the like massive wealth gap between whites and blacks on average. Like white people, like I said earlier, there's a big difference between being a minority and being marginalized, right? So like I think part of the reason it's hard to change your mind on this too is ultimately because it is just a feeling, and there's no way to change your mind when it isn't your mind that's making this decision. It's a feeling, like a kind of a fear that this is going to happen because it sort of seems like it makes sense, but it doesn't. Like if we look at actually what the trends are
does.
indicating, it just doesn't seem like it's likely to actually occur.
Yeah, no, I think it does make sense because it seems like this is just the direction things are going. And as there become fewer white people, if this is like what's happening when white people are still the majority, what's it going to be like when white people are not the majority?
Especially if people like Hunter won't allow you to advocate for them without calling you racial slurs, right?
Yeah, since that's totally what I said. But good one.
All right. So from Tom Fuller, thank you for the super chat. Hunter, I saw someone say something I could possibly misconstrue into an anti-white sentiment one time in a YouTube video. So how can you deny white genocide? Also, diversity causes less unions because minorities are socially conservative.
What minorities are not as conservative and even socially conservative by the numbers as whites. So I don't know what you're talking about at all, dude. And I forgot the other point. I think it was something ridiculous.
Yeah, I was talking about, he was just making fun of us basically. About all right, so from oh god, what the fuck, man? Adolf Hitler. Okay, that's funny. Hunter, why are the whitest states like Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire also the safest states?
A lot of the times it's not the safest or not the safest with anything to do with like the ethnicity of the people. What it just so happens is that oftentimes black people live in more cities, and there generally speaking is a lot more crime in cities, just as it is just city life. Again, that has nothing to do with black people or white people. It's just city life, generally speaking, has more crime, and there are reasons for that too that we could talk about at another time. But yeah, no, again, looking at it as like the whitest states doesn't really prove anything. It's not a safe place because there's white people there. That's not how that works.
You know there's cities in Iceland, right, dude? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You know Iceland is like one of the safest countries in the world, and it's also like one of the whitest countries in the world. Do you think that there's
I'm
no
sure it's just
correlation?
because there's
Riddle
white
me
people
that.
there. Yeah.
Riddle me that. Explain it to me. I need a study.
It's because all white people are there. The more white people, the better the country, obviously, right?
Based. We're starting to get it.
Oh, but not a white
Alright.
nationalist, lol. Okay.
That has
So
nothing to do with me wanting to only allow white people to be citizens in this country or remove anyone from this country, which is the definition of white nationalism. So yeah, I reject that. Just statistical facts. Sorry. Facts don't care about your feelings, bro.
Oh, got me. Okay.
from Jack Wally. Mio, why are you harassing BX Bullet for having an OnlyFans when you probably bought it?
I didn't think of all the things I did not expect to come up. Thank you, Super Chatter. So no, I don't watch porn. I haven't watched porn for like a year now, and I've never been happier, better off. I feel like vitalized. I feel more energy, and I recommend that for anybody. Honestly, seriously, break the addiction. It's not that hard, and you know you have these I, I got to stay within YouTube terms of service here. You have these women like BX Bullet who are profiting off of the loneliness of young men. And I think it's sick. They're using young men for money so that they don't have to work a real job. And really, it's like, especially, you know, you have these just like, what, tits out gun girls who are like, it's so pathetic. It's like, you know, like 5 years ago, you know, maybe it's like you had a bunch of boomers who were okay with that. And it's like, you know, she just wants to take people's money and take her clothes off for it instead of working a real job. And on top of that, actually, she started it coming into my mentions, and she called me a rapist on Twitter, okay, for no reason at all whatsoever. Just, oh, you know, you're the like probably a rapist or whatever. You've never had consensual sex with a girl.
I
She's
mean,
actually
have you? You did
deleted
make that
several
really
of these
weird
tweets.
marital rape thing earlier.
She's
You did say I don't
actually
wear the pants because I don't just
well,
take
hey,
it
when
whenever
I'm
I want
talking
it from
about
my
marriage,
wife.
okay, I've never been married, so that doesn't apply to me. Now, that said, this girl. She called me a rapist. She said I've had non-consensual sex with women, and she's like, you know, just out of nowhere for no reason at all. I didn't do anything to her. She's deleted several of the tweets because she knows it'll get her account banned. And so, you know, I was just arguing statistics with somebody else, and you know, there it goes. And so, you know, I told her, you know, that it's look, you're a grifter. This is what happened. Is
How much longer?
she said I've dated a ton of black guys in my life, and I love it, and my last black boyfriend loved that I'm fat. Yeah, she said that. You can look it up. The comment is still up there.
Oh
Actually, she
no.
privated her account, and here's why. Because I
Who
told her,
cares
look,
about this?
here,
we can
I told
go
Come
her,
back
on,
and
hey,
I'm
the
being
super
held here
chatter
against my
asked
will.
about it, man. The super chatter asked to.
He only paid
short.
$5, all right? He'd pay 50
I'll
if he
make
wanted
it.
to hear you
Look,
ramble.
I'll get it.
All right,
Wrap it
come
up in
on.
30 seconds. All right. So the guy says, or so she says, "Oh no, I have a happy family now." I said, "Look, when you're alone and you're 40, you just remember that you have an OnlyFans and you're just like calling people rapists and like whatever." And she said, "No, I have a happy family and a child now." And you go back, you look through her tweets. Then all of her tweets are about I'm single and I'm alone and I'm sad and I'm so lonely and it's painful and I have nobody in my life and Tinder, please let me back on Tinder, please. And it's pathetic. And so I quote tweeted her a bunch of times about that, and she privated her account. And it's like, look, women, don't be like that. Look, be good, be good girls. Just you know, wait until marriage. Don't, you know, almost said it again. don't have an OnlyFans and you know have yourself half naked online. It's not worth it.
You
It
know,
doesn't
I
lead to
feel like we
happiness.
could
She showed it.
probably. Now, I disagree with what you're saying about BX Bullet. I have my own issues with her, but I wouldn't be going after
Ooh.
her for
Okay, go
like
into debate
Plot
with
an
her too,
thickens.
OnlyFans
huh?
or whatever. But I can agree with. I think me and Mayo here can actually find common ground that porn is bad, and you should definitely
Based.
make an effort to stop watching porn. After I got engaged, I completely quit watching porn myself too.
Based.
And I will say that, yeah, it is really good. At least it was really good for my mental health overall. And yeah, I would recommend to the
I'm
people
proud
watching.
of you, man. I'm happy for you. Seriously.
I
Can we
mean,
also agree to jail all pornographers?
how about we jail everyone with an anime profile picture first?
Oh man, I thought we could take it a step further. All right, whatever.
Thought you had a moment.
Maybe.
Yeah, and just for people watching, when you go after one of these groypers, they're all gonna come for you. So just like know that going into it, like there's nothing that like Mio could even do to stop all
Oh,
the
she had a
groypers
real
coming
good
for her.
time. Her account's still private, which isn't good for her OnlyFans business.
They
That's
are
for damn
pack.
sure.
No, they'll come in packs. So just know that if you're gonna go for one of them, you're gonna get them all.
It's a wasp
all right.
nest. Don't kick it.
All right. So from Bosch fan, super chat. A group can't seem to follow the law now when they're the minority. Once they're the super majority, they'll go, leave Timmy alone. Racism is illegal. I don't know. I'm not sure what he
He's
means by
being
that.
sarcastic.
Okay.
I'm gonna be splitting here in a second.
All right. Let me see if I can like find the questions that are to you, maybe.
Rapid fire.
All right. So from Vosh fan, your side forces me to censor my YouTube comments on this, and you call us racist for having concerns. How will Timmy have a voice? You'll censor him too.
Having concerns, I love it. Yep.
Do you want to address that or no?
Oh, is this for me?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Who forces anyone to censor their YouTube comments? Are they saying that like the left YouTube censors people on YouTube or something?
I think we're talking about the left, yeah, censoring.
Sure. Yeah, that's not borne out in the data. That's a conversation for another time. But calling you racist for having concerns again, where I just have concerns, lol. No, you don't. Your concern, quote unquote, is white people are going to become a minority, and then all of a sudden they're going to be treated as bad as white people have been treating brown people for the last 100 years. Like it's
So
just
they
not
deserve
going to
it.
happen. No, again, stop taking my hyperbole out of context and getting excited. All right, Mayo. But yeah, I mean, it's because they're not just concerns. It's literally like racist fear mongering. So that's why.
Intellectual midget Hunter, please amp up the subversion. Mio seems to be poking holes through it very easily. Try using words like conspiracists and isolated radicals. Okay.
So true. Have you tried incel?
I didn't have to. Your profile picture says it for me.
Oh.
Good one, King. You got me.
Um,
And let that be known to all the groypers. I'm incel. It's actually I don't want to have that conversation.
okay.
All right, man.
If you claim incel and you turn out to be fake cell, it's like basically death in the groyper sphere. So I'm I have no comment at
He's
this
a
time.
fake cell, guys. He's degenerate. He's having degenerate sex.
Whoa, it's not about sex, okay? It's about even just like speaking to a woman at all, okay? So
All right, let me just get...
there is no premarital sex at all in the groype sphere.
Let
That
me-
is something I can say for sure. That
I can
I'm
give
not
you
doing.
some
Let me-
tips if you want, but it usually doesn't
me-
start up with it. Just for some context, like if you're gonna talk to a woman, it doesn't help to start off with like, "Hey, get in my car really quick," or like stuff like that. Doesn't really work too well.
You'd be surprised. No, there's no premarital sex whatsoever. Hey, get in my car really quick.
Hey,
Once
I lost
you're
my
married,
puppy.
it's a
Can you
whole
get in my
different
car and
topic,
help me look for
Come
it,
into my
please?
windowless van.
What are you think? What am I?
This is
painting me
this
as,
is
like,
my own
Ted
Comcast
Bundy
van,
right
please.
now?
Yeah,
Hey,
you
will
want to take a
step
hot
away
ride
from
here?
the crowd, miss, and help me in my trunk?
All right, let me get the ones that are to Hunter.
Yeah.
Because he seems like he's like trying to leave in a minute.
I
and
am
then we
trying to
can
get out of here. I'm
more
too
here.
scared to talk to Mayo anymore. I can't handle it.
You're scary. All right, from Hitler. Swear to God.
What's
Hitler.
going on, Hitler?
Hunter's lust for racial aliens is testament to the rot within the West. He's essentially saying, don't worry, guys, it'll be fine, as he helps hold open the city gates for the barbarians.
Exactly. See, yep, the immigrants are all the barbarians that are coming. We're importing the third world. I love that one too. You know, you hear it all the time. Usually these are people that, for barbarians, they commit less crime on average than the general population. So that's really strange for barbarians, but okay.
Well, not if you exclude a certain population, but
Oh, don't even
Aren't
get me
you,
started on if you want to stop crime, because if we wanted to go that route, we could just get rid of men. So let's not take that direction,
Oh,
okay?
got me. Well, it turns out society needs men. But
Um,
anyway.
and these people that are sitting backstage, I don't know how you got the link. I don't know who you are. So we haven't started giving the links out to anybody. I'm not letting you in because I don't know who the fuck you guys are. And
Wasn't
especially,
me.
yeah, I know. I don't know where it came from. All right, so let me see if I can find the ones that are just a hunter. Let me see. Okay, that's from you. From Voshvan is the little Jamal question when when he's committing a crime, resists arrest, attacks police, and gets a worldwide parade thrown for him, and the police are abolished.
And a golden coffin.
Mm. Okay. From Cheesy S. For Hunter, thoughts on Jeff Bezos and Amazon coming out with studies reporting that Amazon workers are less likely to unionize the more diverse they get.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look into that. It's just, again, every time that comes up now, I'm just gonna have to know. I'm gonna have to chuckle at Mayo bringing up the fact that there's a replication crisis, and then citing an Amazon-based study that found
It's
that
not a
unions were
study,
bad.
man.
Just...
It's not a study. Do you
Oh,
know
an
what
internal
analytics are?
memo. That's right, an internal memo.
Do you know what
Sorry.
analytics are? Yes or no?
Yes.
It's just the tracking of data. They just track data. What makes a store less likely to unionize? That's all. It's not like they're doing a study or anything like that. It's a corporation tracking diversity and tracking the correlation with what happens in their stores. That's all. There's no study. There's no like methodology. There's no scientists, sociologists involved. It's
Okay.
just tracking the data of their stores and the employees.
It's cool.
That's all.
Yeah, I know you have like this one piece of data that you keep like to throw around, where I have like swaths of evidence suggesting the contrary. That again, diversity
You
leads
have
to less
non-replicatable
racism.
studies
But
versus
and you have an
the bottom
internal
line,
memo from
one of the
Amazon,
most
buddy.
powerful
Okay, let's.
corporations in the world.
All right,
Okay.
Brittany. How many more questions really are there here?
I'm just gonna ask one and then I'll let you go.
Dad
Which
life, trad
which
life.
position? This is from me. Which position? Now that you've kind of moved, I guess maybe we've switched places. But which positions do you hold that are still conservative?
I mean, I guess being against porn would be one of them. Anti-porn, anti-abortion, pro-gun, pro-free speech. I guess anti-cancel culture. Maybe that would kind of fall into like right wing. Yeah, that's, I guess, off the top of my head, a couple that I can give you.
Well, yeah. So if you want to give a final thought, you can do that, and then I'll ask Mio too. But then you have to stick
I'll
around because we
mute
have more
myself,
questions.
I swear.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you can look me up on my channel, Hunter Avalone. Thanks again for having me on here. I really enjoyed deconstructing the little Timmy question once and for all. I hope not to hear it again next time. Hopefully, we'll see a debate on the little Jamal question, which is much more realistic and likely to happen, and doesn't require a white nationalist wet dream / fantasy in order to make it somehow sound believable. Either way, I appreciate the conversation. Mayo, I'm sorry that you got really triggered by me like calling you a few names, even though you invoked my wife. Either way, I love you, buddy. I hope you get the help you need, and have fun cuddling your anime doll tonight. Peace. All right. Ugh. That was tiresome. That was a tough one, boys. Oh, that guy he pivots like a fucking motherfucker. You did awesome tonight. Thanks, guys. I started off a little bit shaky, and I could tell it was like, all right, I'm off to a little bit of a shaky start, but that's okay. You know, I'm just going to try to ride it out, and then I feel like by the second half, I was able to really turn it around. He was so mad right off the bat, which is what really gave me an advantage, right? Like the very beginning. Like, that was fucking insane. This was the first debate that I watched live. Hell yeah.
Come on and start shouting racial slurs against black.
He was so mad about the mayo cracker thing. That was just fucking hilarious. Yeah, Brian, get in my Discord. If I lost, you can tell me all about it. All right, Pixel Demon, thanks for the $5. Hey, what's your view on open carry? I don't know. I'd have to think that one through a little bit. Christian Stafford, thanks for the 10. Take this piece of trash to the landfill, Hunter. Thanks. Yeah, I think I did all right. Lovely Planet, thanks for the $5. Schindler's List claims South Africa. It's just buckshot. He is throwing out so many distractions. That's his strat. Don't get distracted, mean. Sigh. Yeah, that is definitely his thing. It was hard to try to hold him on topic. Lovely Planet, thanks for the 5. Oh, wait, I just read yours. EXO, thanks for the $5. Please let me give some rhetorical advice. I need more rhetorical advice, but I'm definitely getting a lot better. Ferlato, thanks for the $5. Bayonets with rifles is my new favorite Mayo misspeak. Halston Word, thanks for the 10. That's not even what a gish gallop is. Gish galloping isn't just saying a bunch of dumb stuff. It's mixing lies and truth in such a way to make them indistinguishable so as to make them look credible. I don't think it has to be lies. I think it's just weaker arguments that are like railed all together so that it sounds like a more convincing argument when it's not. Same times 4, thanks for the $5. Take a shot every time Mayo whines about being interrupted. You're drunk as fuck then right now, aren't you? Stunning and Brave, thanks for the 5. This guy is full of crap. Diversity isn't entirely bad. I know. Thank you, person who donates with their name I cannot read. Completely off topic. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow? Cleveland Browns or Chicago Bears? Serious question. Dude, I wish I could give you a serious answer, but I apparently am too much of a beta to watch sports, so I don't have the answer to that. Halston Wirt, thanks for the 5. I bet all he really wanted to do the entire time was put some mayo on your cracker, if you know what I mean. You know what? This guy's going to come on. All right, I think he's in my Discord. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Oh. Yo.
Hey, yo, what's up, bro?
Oh, wait, hold on. I have my settings fucked up here.
Oh, you're good.
There we go. Hold on, I gotta get a joint, because after that was a fucking... Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, but I'll join you, bro. I'll join you.
Oh. What's up, man?
Wait, hold up. I'm just getting my shit.
Okay.
Hunter Avalon. Listen, brother. I think you performed fantastically.
Wait,
during this
I'm sorry.
debate.
I had my headphones off there for a second. Please restart what you were saying. I'm all ears.
You're good. Sorry, I was getting my shit too. Because you know, you can't listen to Mio for like 2 hours without smoking your joint right after, right?
Literally. Or beforehand, you know, who knows? But no.
True. Yeah, I just want to say I think you did fantastic during
Really?
that debate.
Thanks, man. I saw your tweet and I agree wholeheartedly that I definitely started off a little weak. But honestly, you know, that's kind of the Destiny style, right? You like start off and kind of I'm serious. You start off, you let the other person sort of just like ramble and go for a little bit, and then you eventually near the second half really start like hammering them down.
Yeah, when that social cohesion shit came up, I was like, oh God, I hope he starts talking about studies on how diversity does not hurt social cohesion. Like a second later, you start bringing that shit up, and I thought that was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I always try to go right to the studies because that always works way
That was
better.
so good. Yeah, because the little Timmy debate is it's wholly an appeal to emotion. There's no empirics behind it.
It's
I thought you really
unfalsifiable
hammered
too.
home.
What I never got a chance to fully say, but like it literally, the reason it's a quote unquote undefeatable argument is because it's unfalsifiable. It's like if I said
Totally.
right next to me there's a invisible purple dinosaur, only I can see it, and whenever you're here, it's invisible. There's no way that you'd ever be able to prove that I was actually lying.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was a little unfortunate that you called him Mayo Cracker before the debate, since like a third of the debate was about that. So maybe that wasn't optically the best decision. But besides that,
I'm
actually
white. I can
really
say it,
fucking
dude.
good.
Come on.
I know, but like anti-white, racism, no matter who's. I'm not saying it's like bad that you said it,
No,
but
I
maybe
know.
like optically.
It definitely played into his narrative, but I felt like
Yeah.
he could have made it like a more like subtle point that could have like actually like maybe been like a decent point, but instead he like looked like he got so mad about it. So instead it just completely destroyed it. Like even if it was a good point originally, it was like he was so fucking mad about it. It was just totally worth it, you know?
Yeah. You also did a really good job staying calm, even when he would go on those like massive fucking tears. I think you performed very fucking well. I was a
Thanks.
little unhappy because I was meant to have that debate with Mio,
I
and then
saw.
I didn't respond quick enough, and yeah, Britt stole it from me. So I was like, fuck, another one. So I didn't have any high hopes, but like you completely fucking destroyed my expectations.
Damn.
Um,
Thanks, man. Yeah, people
yeah.
still really think of me as being like really weak with debate. And it's because, excuse me, sorry. It's because like I'm still not like the best, but I'm definitely getting a lot better.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fully honest. When I was a right winger, I used to watch your shit a lot, which is
Okay.
really funny. Now that we're
Definitely.
like both on the left talking about this, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro.
Excuse me. Damn. You're gonna hear me.
Congrats.
Thanks,
I
man.
think that
Yeah.
was some pink shit, and I hope to talk to you
Do you have any other
soon.
advice? Because like you can tell to me straight if you think there was was there a part where you felt like
I think the only problem was you kind of fell short off at the beginning. I was getting mad at you, but I forgot about what. I don't know, man. That shit blew me away with the studies. You were like, it was like you were reading my fucking mind. I actually have a doc. This might help you.
mm-hmm.
Um, wait, this is actually, I've been working on this for a while. Um, here, if I give you the link, you should just be able to view it. You almost quoted like the exact studies I was gonna talk about too, which is really good.
Oh yeah.
I think,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I always go for the studies. That's like my move.
Yeah, I think so Mio kind of when you like dumped all the studies on him, he kind of went for the personal attacks after. It was kind of weird, but he kind of pivoted.
It was obvious he was
And you
losing.
did yeah, you did a very fucking good job at like keeping him on track. When you started like repeating the study again, that was really good.
Oh, thanks.
Um,
Yeah.
I genuinely think you performed amazing.
I just had to like shout over him at some points. Is like this guy's just never gonna fucking shut up.
Oh yeah, because he completely like just populist fear mongering, and you did a very 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 good job at curbing that.
Thanks, man.
Rhetorically maybe, like definitely at the beginning and the anti-white thing. There was also some bullets that I think you should have bit early. I think you did end up biting, but I think you should have bit them a little earlier.
Mhm.
Which is like when he started talking about like he didn't specifically quote it, but like Robert D'Angelo and stuff like that. What I would have done is like gone like, yeah, I think that's completely bullshit. I think any racism against white people is completely deplorable, and I think we should actively fight against it. Except this is like a very 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 small fringe minority of our
Right.
society that are engaging in this rhetoric.
Right.
But yeah, no, you essentially said that in a longer form a little later.
Yeah. Some of it was. I just thought it was funny especially because he threw personal insults right at the beginning. I was like, what the
Oh, yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, Mio likes doing that a lot. It's very very interesting. I liked when you started acting sus towards him. I usually do that when I talk to him. It makes him very uncomfortable.
With what do you mean?
I think you called him like baby at some point.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, and I found that really funny. That was good too.
Someone said I
But yeah, I
failed to
mean,
hold his feet to the fire about pro segregation. There's so many things. The thing is, people are like, you could have held his feet here. You could do this. You could do that. And it's like, it's so much harder when you're actually in the debate.
I completely agree. Because from a third party, you're seeing this from a point where like you don't have the adrenaline pumping through your system.
You're
You
not
don't
on the
have, like,
spot.
Yeah.
You
So it's
also
much
haven't done the
easier.
research, so like people can watch and there's like one part, right, where they're like, "Oh, I could have answered this better." But like the entire debate, it's like, "No, you wouldn't have held up the whole time." You know, like
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Massive fucking props. I think you actually. I haven't watched the whole Destiny Mio debate, but I think honestly, towards the end, I think you might have even done better than Destiny.
Thanks,
Especially
man.
at some certain points. I definitely think that was fantastic, and I think that was like the official first debate Mio has like truly like lost, and
Like where
he got
because
fucking rolled
he looked so bad. He was so mad the whole time. I don't know.
completely.
I'm white. I'm allowed to say mayo cracker. You know what? And I give you the MC pass, okay?
I'm Italian, so I don't know if I can say it.
Oh,
I am
I'm
technically
Italian
a
too,
person of
man. What's
color.
up?
Are you actually? That's fucking
Avalone?
crazy.
Come on. Does that not sound... Apparently we have so much in common and now we're going to work together really well, and if there were more homogenous groups of people like us, the world would be better.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't think we're diverse enough. We do have to get some non-Italians here, but like, yeah, besides that, I mean, we are more likely to unionize. That was also a very strong point that Mio had, that I think tomfoolery brought up, but it wasn't discussed, I think, enough during the debate,
Mhm.
which is
The
Amazon, the
unionization
thing that,
thing.
yeah. So I think that's I'd be willing to admit that that probably is completely correct. But that's because most of Amazon workers that are like Latino and stuff like that are like just like new immigrants. And usually people who just immigrated to the US are very conservative.
Right.
Tom
That was one
like
that was one point I should have been a little bit more prepared for. But honestly, it
all
worked to
good.
my benefit that like Mayo was so bad at explaining it that he basically made it sound like there was just some like leaked Amazon email versus like
Yeah.
a bunch of my fucking studies. So I'm like, dude, I don't really care.
I lost my shit when he said, yeah, your studies can't be replicated. Your peer-reviewed journals and meta-analyses are stupid. Like when he engaged in that anti-intellectualism and then went, yes, but my proof is Amazon leak doc.
Amazon said that. I know, and I called him on that too.
Yeah, it was really good. Good
I've
shit on
noticed
that. That was
something with
good.
debates is that you really have to like exaggerate where like your wins, like where you get them, like just passively getting them isn't good enough. You really have to like hammer them down, and I definitely missed the mark
Yeah.
on some of that.
It's all good. I think if you look at the politically provoked poll, it's in their community. You're either winning, tied, or losing by a very small margin. But that in of itself demonstrates how like fucking insane you did during this debate. Because politically provoked is full of like groypers who like completely agree with Mia.
I'm wondering
And
if
if
they're
you're
still.
even
Oh, they're
tied,
still
you're
live.
winning.
Some of the
Let's see.
Oh fuck.
Where do you see their little poll?
It's in the community page, I think. In their YouTube channel.
Okay, gotcha. So they already put it up there. Cool.
It was put up like
I'm voting
before
for
the
me.
debate, I
Oh
think.
wow, look at this. Oh, neck and neck.
I got all of my
48% me,
Discord to vote for you,
49%
so-
Mayo, which of course I know there's going to be more people that probably are going to vote Mayo at the end of the day because
Neck and neck means you won.
Mayo got BTFO'd. Oh man, imagine thinking Hunter won this debate. Hunter just hates the
Yeah.
answers. Hunter did better than Destiny TBH. Hunter won and it's not even close. Mayo has yet to show any level of decent preparation. It's clearly a massive race. He gets considered as a bad reputation.
So good.
I have to rewatch it. Whenever it's weird because whenever I'm done with debates, I always feel like I did really bad. Like there's very rarely a debate that ends that I'm like, yeah, I fucking crushed it. Most of them,
interesting.
I'm like, I didn't do this good, or because like I forget all the good shit I say, and instead I only remember like the one time that I was like talking and then kind of lost my train of thought, or like the one time that I like didn't respond as well as I could have, or the one time I didn't necessarily need to say that, or I could have said this. Like I just focus on that, and then it's usually when I re-listen to it that I'm like, oh, okay, so I said a lot more
That-
than just my mistakes.
Yeah, that might be seen as like a bad quality, but I think that's incredibly important. Having like a critical eye over yourself, you're gonna improve like way better than everyone else. I mean, Mia walks out of these debates thinking he's won all the time because everyone supports him, so he's gonna consistently, or he's gonna keep up his like debate quality, I guess, this consistency, or he's gonna get worse.
It's just a gish
gallop is
all he does, really. But
Yeah, it's an emotional appeal with a gish gallop. He started. You said one point about something I forgot, and he called it a gish gallop. He does this whole like, it's kind of weird, but Mio's kind of like a debate bro in this sense. He'll just start throwing out the word like logical fallacy and stuff like that around, and hopefully this one sticks.
yeah, I know because
Which is
he said what I was doing was a gish gallop when it was like I was talking a little long. I'm like, that's not what a gish gallop is. It's not when you talk a long time. It's when you talk about a bunch of dumb shit and that's like doesn't actually make a good point when it's deconstructed.
Yeah, it was incredible. I do have one specific thing I want to touch on, which I just remembered. And I
Yeah.
know you're friends with Vosh. I think. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with that. But you start. I think you did it like 3 times throughout the debate. You did this thing that Vosh does, which is like, "Are you okay? Why are you mad?"
'Cause
Like
it's
specifically that verbatim, which, like, which I guess in one sense it does put you like in a rhetorical advantage. Sorry, I know you're dying, but
no, it's okay. I can
um,
hear you. I just took a nice bong hit. I'm good.
yeah, okay. Wow, not even smoking a joint. Damn,
I know. I don't have my joint, unfortunately.
unfortunate. But yeah, for you. So for people who agree with you, it might be like rhetorically advantageous because you're like, I'm keeping my calm and he's going off, he's crazy. It's important to point that out.
Hmm.
But for anyone who doesn't disagree with you, it might be seen as like he's not even attacking the argument anymore. He's just calling you crazy. Which might be, yeah, it depends what your goal is in the debate.
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways you could take it. And the thing is, I did end up approaching it. It was just that, although you're right that that was similar to what Vosh says, it's like I was kind of sincere. I'm like, are you okay?
Oh no,
Like
no,
you,
yeah, completely.
he was
No,
like,
yeah,
he literally was like getting
yeah.
so triggered.
No, he was going off. It was because it's an emotional argument, right? So he's gonna be emotional about it. But
He was
yeah, you
really
kept your
mad.
cool,
He
which is
seemed
great.
like you could tell he had animosity towards me for like previous reasons.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not weird at all. It makes total sense to me.
Why? Why do you think so?
Because he's a groyper. They hate me. And it's funny that he brought up the girlfriend thing too, because that's actually like a groyper talking point about me.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah,
Damn, I
that's
didn't
why
know that.
that's why I was so like unshocked by it. Because I'm like, this is the actually you'll probably hear in a lot of these groyper circles stuff like Hunter cheated on his pregnant girlfriend. That's a really common one, and that's because Nick Fuentes and Caitlin Bennett both. I don't know if they like purposely teamed up, but they both ended up either way teaming up and spreading that rumor to their community.
What the
So
fuck?
so you'll see comments all the time that Hunter cheated, Hunter's girlfriend brainwashed him, he cheated on his pregnant wife. There's a million like stories.
Damn, that's actually fucking insane. Literal schizo posting. That's incredible. Um,
Hunter, not because Hunter did great, but because Mayo really strawmanned Hunter's positions a lot and didn't really engage with the arguments as deeply as Hunter. Mayo, right or wrong, got a little passionate, which didn't come off well.
yeah, of course. So it is inherently a passionate argument, so he's gonna get passionate.
I felt like I was, I definitely staying more calm and then getting a little aggressive when I had to was by far the best move because then it did make him
Yeah.
look like he was like the triggered little Nazi.
Yeah,
And it was so funny. He was like, I'm not a white nationalist. And then like a little while later, he was like, getting rid of all the blacks would get rid of crime. Like,
yeah,
dude, come
it
on.
was
Shut the fuck
so-
up, you little pussy. He's such a coward.
I think calling him a white nationalist could be a little dangerous without like kind of like the proof to back it up.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
think yeah.
The thing is,
it
it's
might be,
like,
seen
it's,
as- yeah.
I feel like it's like obvious, right? Like, he introduced
definitely
himself as a
is.
Christian conservative nationalist. Like, I'm sorry. And then you're saying that brown people are going to vote more like, obviously you're saying you want the country to be more white. Obviously. Like, it's so fucking obvious. I don't know. I just think that it's, oh wait, I can change my vote. Okay. Maybe I'll vote for Mayo just because I feel bad for him now. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see what happens. I'm sure the like groypers or whatever will invade the poll and just vote for him. People who didn't even watch it are gonna vote for him just because they despise me. They're gonna see
You're winning 53 to 45.
they're gonna see my name and then and just click the opposition just because it's me.
No,
Is it
Hunter,
still
Oh, now
live?
white- that white people-
dominated. 53 to 45.
It's not done yet. It'll.
No. 175 votes is pretty much finished. I've never seen.
It's
someone,
not. How
like,
many
do
polls
this
are?
so
How many
good.
votes do they usually get on average? 200, 110, huh? I guess, yeah. 280.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the people too.
See, draw.
It depends on the viewers, stuff like that.
Yeah, Mouthy Infidel and Avi won too over Lauren Southern and Whiskey. Did you see that one? That was a fucking nightmare for them.
No, I didn't see that.
You need to check out if you
Lauren
want to.
Southern.
So, do you know who Lauren Whiskey is?
No.
She's that one who was on that panel with Blair White, that crazy girl that told Blair White that she should grow out her mustache. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Wait, are you talking about Lauren Southern?
No. There's a woman named Lauren Whiskey. She was on this.
Same first name. That's funny.
I know they're all named Lauren. Every like right wing like blonde chick seems to be named Lauren. It's weird. But Lauren Whiskey and Lauren Southern, two Laurens, teamed up against Mouthy Infidel, who didn't really do much talking, and Avi, who's like a medical doctor, and an expert with like research and data and everything, right? So they got blown out so fucking bad. It was embarrassing. He was trying to like explain like a very simple logical argument, right? Which was the topic was, is transgenderism a mental illness? And so he said, all right, well, the logical following would be, if being transgender is a mental illness, you cannot be trans without a mental illness. That was what he was posing, which me and you probably hear then say, yeah, that's correct. That would sum up like the logical consistency of that argument, at least their position, right? But this Lauren Whiskey girl goes, I don't know what you're doing, but I think you're being sneaky right now. It's like, dude, he's laying out like a logical argument, and she literally used the word sneaky. I'm like, bruh. No.
That's really fucked. God, but yeah, maybe I should watch that video.
I'm gonna just keep refreshing the poll. Hell yeah. I don't know.
God, another percentage point up? No, Hunter, that's an easy dub. You've also got a big community, who's probably voting for you.
I don't even have that big of a community now. In hindsight, like I have a pretty small community now.
How big? What's your average chatter count?
I mean, right now I have 204 live viewers. When I was debating, I had
What do
like
you mean
330.
small community? What do you mean
That's
small
pretty. Those
community,
are
Hunter?
pretty small numbers considering the fact
Isn't
that I
that
have like 500k subs.
Oh, YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe for
the thing is people. It's funny too that he tried to bring up like your channel's not doing well. It's like, dude,
that's a weird.
I've literally brought up the fact that like my channel's not doing good right now. That just proves I'm not a grifter. Like, okay.
It literally does though. You don't even need any other points.
I know.
Actually,
And then
sounds
also the
ambivalent.
thing is, I guess maybe this proves that I am a grifter though, ultimately, is I'm getting a fuck ton of views and engagement on TikTok. Actually. Of all the places, dude. I just take snips and clips of like my best like debate moments or whatever, post it up there. Dude, I'm getting like hundreds of thousands of views, averaging like anywhere between like 2,000 to like 100,000 likes per like post. It's fucking insane. I'm not averaging 100,000. My most viewed got like 130,000 likes, which I was like, holy fuck. 100,000 people liked my little video. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to start posting shit to TikTok.
I'm telling you,
it's TikTok account.
It is the best. I don't use it at all. I don't look at the content there. I don't enjoy the content. A lot of it is fucking cringe, but part of the reason is since it's a younger demographic on there, right? Like they were raised on social media, so the engagement is off the charts. Like you get a ton of views. With that comes a ton of likes, a ton of comments, a ton of follows. I've been gaining anywhere between like 300 to like 2,000 followers a day. I'm telling you, man, you gotta get on TikTok.
I mean, it's funny. I used to have TikTok. I used to have like 200k followers on TikTok. But nothing to do with politics and shit like that. So I do have to start posting on TikTok again.
I think more comments just came in. I think maybe Hunter Milo got mad and admitted he approved of marital rape.
Jesus, Mio's tweets last night were fucking disgusting.
Did you hear what? Well, did you even hear what he said in my debate? He was like, "Hunter's not a real man who doesn't just take it when he wants it."
Oh yeah, that was fucked.
I'm like, what?
Have you seen the actual tweets he posted yesterday? I
No.
used to be like okay with Mio. I used to be like, I don't hate him. He's a groyper, whatever. But like, fuck, man. After last night's tweets, it was I've lost all like any like small respect I had for him. It's completely going. Mio actually used I still think he does because I'm talking to him about this, but I'm just gonna act like he does. Mio still really likes me because every time we get on like a politically provoked panel and he's on, I argue with the lefties because I think it's really important for the left to have like strong rhetoric and strong points because otherwise it'll drive people to the right and stuff like that. And the alt-righters and the right wingers get really happy when I start arguing against the lefties, and I feel like I have to really stop doing so much of that.
Oh, arguing against other lefties.
Yeah, because I mean there are really fucking stupid points that do hurt the left a lot, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find the tweet that he tweeted out yesterday because I retweeted, I think.
Is that why the PX Bullet chick called him rapey or whatever?
I think that's what started his whole tear.
His little feud
Like
with
send
her.
via direct message. Okay, I'll send it
It's
to
funny
you.
because I just had a feud with her too. Except my feud was way funnier and Mayo was creepy.
Very fucking creepy. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think I did see that. Wasn't he like women have rape fantasies or something like that?
Yup. Exactly.
I don't know if these are my subscribers commenting this. Hunter abused Mayo like he was little Timmy in 2041.
Holy fuck, dude.
Damn, I'm really taking over in the polls here. Fuck it. You know what, fans? Go
told you,
and
bro.
vote
I
this
told
one. I
you.
want Mayo to be insecure about his performance.
I told you. No, you completely fucking dominated that shit at the end. And being up in the polls like right now is a win.
I
For
think
sure.
that he thought that I think what may have happened was he kind of thought he had it easy because he said on his Twitter that it was going to be the easiest debate of his life.
Yep.
It was like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to do like so fucking well. I don't know why.
I don't feel like I
I've
did
never,
that good at all.
seen-
I'm going to have to go rewatch it. I feel like we watched completely different debates.
If you actually no, I'm not gonna fucking self-promote your fuck that. No, never mind.
I do
Nothing.
feel like I ultimately outperformed him, but I don't feel like I definitely didn't do as well as I would have liked to. It's just always
The start
harder,
could have been a
especially with
little
how
better.
fucking slippery and like he constantly pivots and like Mayo has lost every poll. Oh, are you serious?
No, I don't think Mio has lost. Has Mio lost every single poll?
Let's go find out. Where was the last Mayo poll?
Mio versus Radical Coder. No, Mio won this one against Radical Coder.
Barely though. It was a close
The
one.
latest. That's true.
Let's see. Where was the last one? I don't see. I thought he was like the main
Yeah,
guy,
he's the
dude.
third
Wait, come
one.
on.
No. I'm just gonna control F little Timmy.
I don't think that's the only thing he debates.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Oh wait, here we go. Mayo and
Mio versus Destiny. Oh, Destiny 18 and 16. That's because of 1.6 thousand votes. Yeah, that's all Destiny fans.
Destiny fans definitely came over there.
Yeah.
I mean, Mayo and Colombia won this "Should We Ban Porn" by a huge margin, 63%.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be very interested to see how that goes.
Oh my God, you're right. Immigration a little to me. Mayo's 16%. Oh no.
Hunter, I heard you say something really interesting on the debate at the end. When you were saying what conservative views do I still have, and you talked about abortion.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So are you pro-choice or pro-life?
So I'm personally and ethically pro-choice, but legally I'm still I would be considered pro-life. Or pro-choice.
Wow.
Sorry, pro-choice I mean.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I want to see less abortion, but I believe that ultimately the way to reach that goal is actually more in line with a pro-choice approach, like keeping abortion legal and providing contraception, easier access to healthcare, that kind of stuff.
Do you know who also said that?
Who?
Clinton.
Bill Clinton said that?
Yep. You got a lib. That's a lib. I'm so glad you didn't expand further, because the right wingers would have been at your throat.
Oh, I know.
You said that on the. Okay, never mind then. Never mind. I just want to know your opinion on that.
Wait, Hunter didn't do well, but I find it near impossible to lose to someone that literally opens with Little Timmy, this soap opera. Mayo said a man takes it when he wants it, and I think that says enough. I don't know if these are my fans or not, but I'm starting to win now by almost 10%. Hell yeah. Hunter got smacked.
No, good.
Oh no, dude. Throwing the towel. Adolf Tiffler said I lost the debate. Clearly the one who knows the ultimate truth. I'm sorry. Yeah, dude. I got smacked, clearly.
Adolf Tiffler is never wrong. You know what they say.
I'm going to have to rewatch this tomorrow and actually see how I...
The white male. So here are some books that I...
You definitely should. I like rewatching my debates.
Yeah, I do too. I like when... I like rewatching them, though, when I feel more confident.
Oh, that's fair. It's really weird. I've never felt insecure going into a debate or coming out of it.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't tend to be a very insecure person. I used to be a lot, but I've kind of...
I mean, I'm not even insecure in the sense of like... I mean, I'm not insecure. The thing is I'm not insecure in my ultimate ideas because I truly believe that I hold the correct positions here.
That's how you deliver them.
Yeah, it's more I am sometimes insecure in like my rhetorical delivery, and I don't know. It's a work in progress, but it's definitely something that I'm making like really a conscious effort to try to improve.
To be more rhetorically efficient.
Yeah, to be more rhetorically effective, but also that like I'm also trying to like carve out my own style because like Vosh, for example, is like rhetorical master, but like Vosh has better rhetoric than Destiny, but I still find Destiny really convincing and really good at arguing for other reasons. It's not just being effective with like rhetoric, it's also delivering the points in a right way and like having an overall holistic view. So I don't know. I'm trying to bring like my own style to the table, of course.
We might disagree on this because I definitely don't believe that Vosh is better at... Maybe he's better at appealing to his own audience, but like to the majority of people, he's really shitty.
Vosh?
When it comes to appealing to them, yeah, I'd say. With like the whole like ACAB shitting on police like violently.
I mean,
I think
some
Vosh is a little
stuff
moderate
maybe
to
is
low.
like bad optics, but
Yeah. I think Destiny's better at like bridging the gap.
yeah, I don't know.
Just funny because he's bridge burner.
I like Vosh, but rhetorical master. He's really good at rhetoric for sure.
Have you watched Is Vosh Unironically Evil?
Yeah.
Okay. You
Is
watched
the
all of it?
debate poll still up? Yeah, Adam, it is. You got to go over to the Politically Provoked channel if you want
You
to.
should link it.
I feel like that's cheating. I want like an honest... I want an honest like response here.
Well, you're not going to get an honest response from Politically Provoked where the whole audience is just groypers. So
I kept bringing up his IQ thing too. I thought that was so funny.
that was funny as fuck.
I was like, dude, I think with 145 IQ you can read the future.
I want to take an IQ test live with Mio. Oh, like I'll pay for it, like an actual proper
I don't
IQ
want to
test.
take an IQ test because I don't think I'd score very high.
I've taken like Mensa IQ tests before, and I definitely think I'd score better than Mio. I just want like that dick measuring competition.
All right, well,
I think it'd be funny to engage in.
maybe it'd be fun, but I don't know. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna split. Other people are
Yeah.
saying they want to debate me too, so I'll talk to them shortly for a short
That's
time. But,
fantastic.
all right, see you, man.
Okay,
Thanks again
man.
for the
You have a
advice.
great night. Thank you for talking to me, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks,
Love
bro.
you. See you later.
Hello? Nispa Winged Hussar.
Low Hunter Avalon.
Are you guys just here to troll, or are you actually going to be...
What? You've spoken to me and Eric like 3 times.
Yeah, oh, yeah. You people always show up and then troll, right? And then start screaming the N-word, and I have to mute you.
We haven't. I don't know where are you getting this from? Eric literally recorded our full conversation.
Okay, well, maybe I'm remembering wrong. I apologize. So what's up? You're in favor of a white ethno state of some sort?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why?
Because we support tradition.
So what is that?
Well,
What part of
culture
tradition?
in general. Well, keeping people in their own state.
So you support keeping people in their own state purely because it's traditional?
I guess, yes.
So are you in favor of slavery? Because that's traditional?
Well, traditional where?
Like in American history?
I'm not American.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I disagree with this idea that like just because we used to do something that somehow means we should still do it. That's kind of a dumb argument. That actually is like an appeal to tradition, and it doesn't really make any sense. There are a lot of things that we used to do that were traditional, that were bad, that were unnecessary, and changing them has made the world a better place. So, no, I disagree with that. Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Well, good chatting with you,
Wait.
I guess. I don't know. What's up? Like, you definitely are the same people, because I know last time we talked, you guys like didn't make...
Eric's not here, man. He's in bed.
Cool. All right, man. Well,
Goodbye, my man.
all right. Yep. See you, buddy.
Nigger.
There it is. Oh, goddamn. Wow. Every time. I like how people are saying mayo cracker defending marital rape at the end was the cherry on top.